afternoon and welcome here to Oliver C. Dawson Stadium in Orangeburg, South Carolina for today's MEAC Football digital broadcast on ESPN featuring the Delaware State Hornets. They are visiting the Bulldogs here of South Carolina State. Hello everybody, thanks for joining us here once again. My name is Dee Hanson. I'm joined by my broadcast partner here in Steve Foster. Steve, we have two teams that are going in the wrong direction here in the MEAC. They're both coming off of losses, but they're looking for a big win here this afternoon in Orangeburg, South Carolina, with their rushing attacks leading the way. You're
absolutely right. Let's start with the keys to the game. We'll start with Delaware State first. And the Hornets, they need to outrush their opponents. They're second in the MEAC, rushing for 166-plus yards a game, and they need to create turnovers. That'll help them score because they do give up a lot of points on defense. For South Carolina State, they need to use their quarterback and their two-headed rushing attack and win the turnover battle to be successful at home today.
Tailgate fare is on point. We also know that these particular individuals will be on point for their teams here this afternoon.
For Delaware State, their senior, Bryson Aline, he along with number 25 that we'll see, Michael Chris Ike. Both of these gentlemen today will be the part of a senior freshman rushing attack for the Delaware State Hornets. Chris Ike coming from Canada. On the flip side, we'll see number 32, Jarius Jenkins. He's one of the two pair of sophomores that will be rushing today for the Bulldogs. He, along with the second leading rusher on the team, Achon James from North Charleston, South Carolina, number 18. See a lot of them today rushing the football to get in the end zone.
44th meeting between these two schools going up head-to-head. Delaware State looking for their first win of the season, and South Carolina State looking to bounce back after a tough loss last week. You are watching MEAC Football right here on ESPN.
The official is Daniel Carr, the communicator, Robert Hefferon.
Back here at Orangeburg, South Carolina. It's a bit damp.
The operator
Steve
of the
Foster,
clock.
my name is Dee Hanson. Thanks for joining us here this afternoon again in Orangeburg, South Carolina. The Bulldogs of South Carolina State about to take on the Delaware State Hornets. Both teams looking to bounce back from losses. Actually, Delaware State's looking to just get a victory here this year at 0-6, and South Carolina State at 1-5. Looked like they were on the right track to win last week when they took on Bethune-Cookman and narrowly unable to get things done at the very end. But got that offense going that second half, Steve, losing 28-26, and now it'll be Delaware State in a downpour right now at Bulldog Stadium, taking on South Carolina State about to kick off.
One of the things that's a benefit for both of these teams with rushing attacks is they're not going to need to necessarily throw the ball in the rain. You can still throw the ball in the rain, but the generation of offense comes from on the ground. So it's going to be ball security, ball control, 5 points of protection.
Old school
here's the
kickoff jerseys for the
we are underway.
Washington Redskins. I'm sure Coach Walt had to do a double take a little
Bulldog
bit.
Stadium, and again, that rain, we'll see how much of it affects this game so far. Really cleared out a lot of the fans as well. They're back in the stands.
Joe Theismann. I'll never forget the day Jeff Waller
for the most part in Delaware State.
You were still on the sideline.
Sizable return here on the kickoff. We'll have reasonable starting field position in their own territory. But we'll again look at that rushing attack here for Delaware State, and the offense coming in averaging around 12 points per game, and they really do look for Mike Waters. We'll watch him throughout the course. But Keenan Black, we did not mention him. He is the quarterback now in there, and he does like to run it as well at 6'1", 190.
And just happened to come out
shotgun. It's a low snap.
Visit with his mentor Joe Walton, and Joe Theismann was down there giving
South Carolina State on the year. This defense has been doing pretty well against the rush.
Was Jake playing?
But even better against the pass. Second against the pass in the MEAC.
25 years, it all starts running together.
Yeah, this defense is pretty solid. They just need to get everything situated on the same page and then come up with some more wins.
And he says, I have a very special guest. Very dear
in motion is Aline,
and the door opened up, and it was Joe Theismann.
That just a diversionary tactic that will run the football up the middle this time. Do the Hornets, and that will bring up a 3rd and long.
I wanted to just put my head through a locker where he said,
"It's like Dallas."
You know, this is a very special day for
junior
it's senior
from
day.
New York.
What
they call a belly, just handing off the ball right up the middle between the guard and the center, the A gap on the right side. Didn't go for much yardage.
Trevor Teal is the kicker, has it All set to go from the 35-yard line off to our left. The kick will travel left to right. Terrence Stevens is the lone deep back for Robert Morris, standing on the 10.
Offense has been going
Here's
for
the
Delaware
kick.
State
It's low,
this
end
season.
over end. Stevens
I'm not
grabs
going
it
to
back,
throw the rain
pedaling
in the
the 8,
mix, but
comes
it
forward,
certainly
15, 20.
obviously does not
Up the
help.
hash mark,
Jack
breaks through 30,
McDaniels,
40. Terrence
sophomore
Stevens
quarterback at 6'3",
grabbed from behind on the play,
handled that
ripped
snap
down
and
on
just
the play,
able to
on the
get back on
return
top of it before
by
relinquishing it maybe over to South Carolina State. But
and
the Bulldogs
that was
doing a good job here at defense.
Because Terrence Stevens had a head of
big
steam and
to
almost
start out
got
the
all the
game.
way to midfield.
Sure
They
did, forcing
rape
the punt here, 3
at
and out.
the 47-yard
And we'll
line
see if this
and
rain
cover him up
affects
there.
Excellent return.
the kicking
Robert Morris
game, D,
decides to get the opening toss. I think
in any
Central State
kind of significant
wanted
way.
deferred it once their defense
Fidel
out there.
Romo Martinez with the punt. Nice line driver. And again, a mishandle of the football, but good spin move on the return. That from Draquan DeBose.
Play fake to him on the jet
That's where we'll
sweep.
start
and now the
on the
run
other
will go
side
up
of
the
this
middle to
one.
Terrence
South Carolina
Stevens.
State first offensive
Stevens will
set
take
coming
it
up
forward down to Central
here with
State's
13 minutes and counting
line.
in the first quarter of play.
Making the stop
This is
on
MEAC
the play
Football on
for the
ESPN.
Marauders. Started cutting right, then made a switch to the left, and then found some daylight and cut back to the right and took it all the way, officially 42 yards on the run play.
Coach Clark said
We'll be back here in Orangeburg, South Carolina. Dean Hanson, Steve Foster on ESPN. South Carolina State with their first offensive set here against Delaware State. The Hornets went 3 and out. Immediately, the ground game coming into effect here for South Carolina State. They don't waste any time going over to Jarius Jenkins, their redshirt sophomore.
Jenkins could have had a big game, but one of his offensive linemen kind of turned and looked as opposed to block. And no gain, good stance by the Delaware State Hornets defensive line.
Tyrese Nick has been
run. Take this time out. You're listening to Robert Morris University Football live this afternoon on ESPN Pittsburgh and the iHeartRadio app. Keyword RMU.
Mainly on the ground, but now through the air, and this particular instance overthrows his intended receiver, and that'll bring up a 3rd down and 8.
I believe that's 82 Caldwell. And Burrows will see as well, number 1.
There's just too much air underneath that one.
Well, I'd rather have too much air in the ball thrown out there, D. Hanson, than short and having the defender have an opportunity for a takeaway.
Well, officially, it was a 41-yard run.
It'll be Nick having to run with it.
Stevens.
Good coverage to the right as he was looking exclusively over there, and he will not get a 1st down.
And
his
now
defense is now coming up.
getting set to kick off. Mike Benson has it.
Yeah, the defensive back, number 27, Justin Castell, coming in from his secondary position, realizing that Nick was looking to break, contain, and run the ball up the sideline, and dives and pushes Nick out of bounds, and now the Bulldogs will have to punt back to the Hornets.
Despite the weather, still South Carolina State going to the air at the very beginning to loosen things up.
On the live stream on
the rain had been coming down, here on still does, 77 degrees, it's a bit of a breeze as well, 13 miles per hour.
Here's the kick coming to the near side of the return is on the sample, bringing over the 25-30, makes a cut at the 40, and almost broke the tackle, but Muehlbauer tracked him down from behind at the 45-yard line, but this is the type of runner that Terraris Saffold is. He's 6 feet tall, 200 pounds
this year, averaging over 42 yards,
Alabama, and he is going to start at the tailback spot today for Central State.
Now, Delaware State will be back out there on offense after a rough set in their first offensive series at their own 30.
Well, they start again at the 30. Last time it was 3 and out. A punt to the Bulldogs here now, as you mentioned. McDaniels looking to get the Hornets
inside the 10 and
at least to midfield
and
make an impact on the offensive side of the ball.
Green will be out of shotgun to the right there of McDaniels.
Tossed downfield and Mays hit him in full stride.
Not much,
like I said, Chris, this Central State team
great
has
job
nothing to lose. They're going to come out, they're not going to back down for Robert Morris.
Their front line,
you give it to your running back, he's their go-to
collapsing
guy.
down on the
does a great job.
left side. Naleen with nowhere to go.
Everything he has. Mays just lays that ball out, one-on-one coverage. The wide receiver got behind him. Beautifully thrown
defensive
ball,
end there.
I'm looking orange
forward. Or actually, I have him listed as a linebacker.
Look at it, Chris. And
1 yard
they're
gain.
Just going to see if you maintain
Lean
possession
is in
as
motion.
He's coming down.
McDaniels actually looked at
like
his way and instead will tuck it in and run.
All right, so they're going to take a look at it, Chris, just to make sure he controlled the ball all the way through.
That's what you have to do when the play breaks down, is either get rid of it or use your feet.
Yeah, absolutely. It looked like he crossed the plane.
The foot option is best, as now third and manageable with about 3 yards.
Just going to make sure that
Quarterback keeper up the middle gets 6 yards.
They're quickly to the line.
Right now, they bring both teams to
getting the first down past the 40.
Long story short, Robert Morris got
that belly play we looked at earlier that went for nothing.
Monte Doward with the run.
Yeah, Chris, I mean, it was a well-designed play. Why not go for it, right? Just do a little clever play, as Coach Walton would call it. You hand it off to the wide receiver.
Indeed, a basic belly play that went for no gain now goes for the first down. The ball at the 41.
Right there, then it turns into an aggressive pass block.
First and 10, the first down picked up in this game, and that pass nearly picked off at the 45-yard line. Good way of getting right in front of that one there for the Bulldogs, and nearly again picking it off is Lane Jones.
Looks like a touchdown, Chris.
And as you see the linebacker coming in,
looking at it, as a matter of fact,
making the tip and
Fulmer, the referee,
blocking the ball away.
The sideline green hat, Charles Costanza.
Jones
and they've got
doing a great job from his
of guys
linebacker position on second level.
Down the hall from us.
Handoff is a modest gain there for 1 yard.
All right, so not a touchdown.
Delaware State trying to get into rhythm here with their offense.
Line, but still Robert Morris right on that first play from scrimmage.
The senior,
absolutely, Chris. Now they're knocking on the doorstep. Now they got some confidence.
Michael Chris Ike, the freshman.
And as
you mentioned, D, we also have number 30 as well. Dallas, the running back.
With the clever play on first down. And that's something you rarely see.
Long, deep try here for the Hornets. It's well overthrown. And incomplete, trying to hit Trey Gross
is
down
the lone
the
running
left
back.
sideline.
Mays, the quarterback, will take it, call his own number, slide to the right, try to dive in.
After gaining a first down,
near the goal line,
the Hornets are going to still wind up.
And we're going to call this one
in the end on this drive. Punt.
We'll start against the offense of Central State, and the Marauders will backpedal to the 6.
Here in this inclement weather.
And two offenses that have had a difficult time this season too, and the defenses have to be somewhat commended as well. But that was a poor
ruled down to the 1 yard
pass
line
there. But now a reasonable return shaping up here for DeBose.
And they're going to replay first
nice
down.
Return all the way to his own 45. Great starting field position here for the Bulldogs. They will be set to go here in the first and 10. Ready to go here in MEAC play. You are watching MEAC Football on ESPN.
Fire, and that ball is going to be caught inside the 2.
Luke got to be a real-life superhero, and so did his dad.
Everybody has their own job, but yeah, great job by Central State.
No score so far here at Bulldog Stadium, where the South Carolina State Bulldogs will have the football in their second offensive series, and very good starting field position at their own 45-yard line. A good return on a punt by DeBose has him in this particular position. And a run on the play yields nothing. Buddy Poe Pukes trying to get his team in here. He has a big war record here against DSU, 9-5. And his last season, sitting at 121 wins so far in his career at South Carolina State.
A little low. But, you know,
you mentioned the run, and that's James, Datron James, number 18.
Nick now will wind up and throw this one down the right sideline.
11:54 to go here in the first period of play. We're all tied up.
Looking for Jermaine
Robert Morris and Central State
Baxley, the wide receiver, Richard Sr. And I don't know if the ball's just sailing on Nick early, but right now he's finding the right person to spin the ball to, but it seems to be wide and over the head of both the receivers now, throwing to his right.
Both teams are either running or going deep. We haven't seen a lot short or middle.
No timing routes.
Here's Nick. He'll try to change that. Throws the left-hand side, and it is caught.
They listened to you, D-Hands.
They did. Mixing it up. That one caught by Tim Ewing.
Good concentration, may not be enough for a first down, but at least it's a pass that's completed.
That was completed from Trent Mays to Kevin Greenhow. But a couple of plays after that, they were able to score.
It's well short of the first down. Yet another punt
Teal
coming.
wants to run up and kick the ball, but it got blown off of the tee by the wind, which is
like the
picking
guy
up
that just
even
wants the ball.
Stronger now here, coming across the
Punt
field
return,
from far side to near.
Backfield.
Jerome Petaway gets it away and
11:54
just having a hard time
early
finding it. I think
game.
also in the rain is Haleen. He has to kneel down on inside the 10 on that last beautiful punt by Petaway. Delaware State will have another stab at it. No score so far in Orangeburg.
You're watching MEAC Football on ESPN.
Time. Start your free trial.
Down near the 16-yard line. That's about a 10-yard pickup.
The
Elijah
defense
Jackson on his first run of the ball game
here so far.
And it was
Kalen
Abrams, their lead tackler, bringing him down. But
joined by Steve
Jackson was
Foster,
able to get to the sticks, and the chain gang will
nice
move downfield.
by Petaway.
10, Robert Morris at the
Delaware
Central
State
State
deep in their own territory to try to get out of
especially Gonzalez, are doing a great job with that counter.
The shadow in their goal area. Trying to run the football more effectively here, and they finally do get a sizable gain right up the middle.
Pops one over to the left
yes,
side.
for number 30, Brian Dowse. He runs the same rushing play, but gets good yardage after the first one went nowhere.
Beyond the line of scrimmage.
Now it'll be a run by McDaniels, the quarterback, and a huge gain on the play.
Into the ball game. Steve Petrick
will end up having the Hornets near midfield.
So let's see where Barr lines up here, Brian.
And right there, the quarterback makes a great decision as Jack McDaniels decides to keep the ball, head towards his sideline on the left side of the line. And as you mentioned, D. Hansen gets across the 35.
Play action. Throws one left side. That ball is cut by Brandon McGee.
That's where we're going to throw it and complete it.
Down the hash marks into the end
over
zone.
tacklers,
and the Colonials
potential ones at least, into South Carolina State territory is Teron Selby, his 18th reception of the year.
What I like about Selby is the fundamentals, ball in the outside arm, so he can use his inside right arm to ward off a would-be tackler for a loss. It turns it into a great game.
Easily our best.
Let's see if we can see it on the replay.
Level of consistency in offense. As soon as I say that,
you're right. It was
blown up in the backfield.
Yeah. You got the pass.
Sure did.
It was McGee who was in there. But
that's Gilchrist, Chad Gilchrist, number 11, coming through right up the middle of the A-gap between the center and the guard, untouched, and that's a big loss.
Shuffling receivers in and out, but you're right. It was Gonzo who got the
leads the team in that category now. 5 tackles for a loss after that.
By Aaron, Gonzalez making the
second and 13 now for McDaniels and company. Aline gets the call, and he gets past midfield into Bulldog territory, takes an official with him.
Indeed, it's confirmed it was
Jalen Evans
making that catch.
Coming in and making a nice tackle, getting low D, so taking away the legs of the senior rusher from Del State.
On to kick.
And a good job here, but still third down and manageable.
Snap is down.
Rain continues to drive
Adam Check,
down.
The kick is on its way. It's tall. It is good. Stadium. So it's a 14-7 lead.
Daniels.
Matthew Gonzalez hauling it in.
He's 5 now, 6 coming his way, and he flushed out of the pocket and sacked.
To go here in the first quarter of play, and the Colonials lead it 14-7 over Central State.
Looked like one of those coverage sacks because it looked like McDaniels was surveying, but Wilson, number 86, comes through. You just can't hold off the defensive attack from the line that long. You either got to make a decision to run or just throw it away, and right there the pocket collapses and the Bulldogs get a sack.
Gilchrist in the mix as well. We're going to see a lot of a number 11 out of feeling here today. Beautiful snap back here, the punt coming from Rolo Martinez. DeBose will bring it back from his own 10 and not get much.
3 plays.
Good coverage downfield on the punt team. Brooke Parker.
And it was all set up by great Terrence Stevens,
the return man.
Only 5:08 left here in the first quarter.
Mike Benson is on to boot.
Neither team able to do much other than that last series we just saw from the Hornets on offense.
Running under it at the 22-yard line.
These are two teams that have combined for 24 points in the first quarter all season. 14 for South Carolina State and 10 for Delaware State. This is not exactly their prime time offensive
quarter to score. No, it's not.
State will have the football.
And right now, starting inside their own 20.
25-yard line.
Here's Nick again. And he'll hand it off right side.
I should hang on to my hat, but I'm not wearing it because you never know what's going to come next.
I know.
There's no reason, obviously, is both teams trying to get back into the swing of things on their offense to get away from anything.
The officials holding the football.
It's been tough going, especially on the ground here this afternoon for both sides.
And we see a new rusher in the game, number 37. I'm not.
Manigault.
But the umpire finally does put
listed
it down
as a
on the
defensive
field
back,
turf.
but right there, when he touches the ball, we got to give him the RB designation.
And he's had instances.
They get everybody ready to go, and here we come again.
On the offensive side of the football. 2nd and 7 now here for Nick.
Under center this time.
Play action to
Manigault
Manigault
behind
now.
him, and as he
deep,
drops back
and
to
he
hand off
goes
to him,
deep.
the whistles blow, flags fly, and we're going to get a false start.
Slipped, I think.
Is incomplete, and the intended receiver just falling down.
So we'll try it again from 5 yards further back at the 20-yard
Also
line.
in the part of that play.
Well, that's where now the elements are playing a part. Pass got there, but now you got to have your receiver there as well. And you know, the turf,
go under center.
even though these surfaces are much better than grass and they're much better than the initial
here's a curl out to the left side.
AstroTurf that they had
tuck and run. He's at the
decades ago, you can still slip.
37 now. That pass
chased out of
last
bounds
intended
on
for
the far
Caldwell.
side of play by the
Nick
Colonials.
handles the snap back and throws, and it will be incomplete. Trying to hit Burrows right at the first down marker. But the defense was stout enough there for the Hornets to block that down. Or do we have a flag on the play? I hear a lot of whistles. But here's
Nigel Bynum, the defensive back there covering Burrows.
Actually,
number 28, and he may have gotten there early. There's a discussion.
Because
it could be a first down because there is now a flag.
There.
Massive white teacher.
Now here's the give. Saffold to the left side. He'll pick up the first down.
Change anything other than field position. And that's where we're having a battle of right here. Considering both teams are having a hard time with their offenses. Field position is going to be that much more magnified as we move forward.
You're absolutely right, T. And with the weather not being optimal, but I think Burrows,
there you go.
They have been unhappy.
If you're going to say anything to the official, it's not good.
Well, we can already see it will draw you a 15-yard penalty.
Petaway back at his own S. Gets that one away near the 47.
Here's Mays rolling right this time, throwing downfield. It's Ford making a sliding dump back catch at the 49-yard line.
Great starting field position, their best here so far this afternoon.
You're absolutely right. However, to your point about Petaway kicking out of his end zone, still the starting field position for Del State, the Hornets is on their side of the 50.
So it's a nice punt.
Go into the pistol this time. Saffold behind
a great job in that category on the season.
2nd down, 1 yard to go.
Now lean.
High snap.
Averaging nearly
Mays
10
controls
yards.
Saffold gets the handoff, cuts to the left side, is able to bang through for about a 3-yard gain.
Trips right-hand side.
It's going to be a first down for Central State. Adam Wallen
take his time and then get smacked down from behind. That should be an incomplete pass. But did not feel the pressure from the blind side. And South Carolina State has been doing that all afternoon. Bring in the heat.
And Roger Perry, number 91. You just have to have that internal clock, D, sped up just a second or a fraction faster. Because as you see on the replay,
Ford comes to the set from the left
that's
side,
just a double whammy.
Stutter steps around to give
91.
Trying to turn the left
Roger
corner.
Perry leading the charge.
Now reverses field, comes back to the near side.
Daniels now
and he is able to break a tackle deep in the backfield, turns it upfield to the 50, 45, 40.
Well, that almost looked like a lateral.
He is finally run down on the play by Adam Wallen.
Official was pretty quick though.
What a nice
judge there, making
run
sure
that time.
everybody knew.
Using almost every blade of grass out there.
Isaac Williams,
finally gets it,
number 8.
It upfield, but we have
Isaiah
a flag
Williams,
down on the far side of play where he reversed field originally.
Might have been all for not Chris.
Looking upfield possibly.
But boy, you're right. He probably ran 50,
here in the footsteps. Either way, it's an incomplete pass.
Third and long for the
motion
Hornets on the offense of Central State. It's a 5-yard penalty marked off from the line of scrimmage.
Daniels flare out right.
That will push the football back into Central territory at the 47-yard line where it's going to be first down.
Should be shy.
Rant, number 14 coming up.
Mays in the pistol. A little movement on the line. We have flags flying.
And a good choice. And Aline, the senior, gets to the sideline, makes a move, but is upended.
He had 2 guys running down the middle of the field
before the first down mark.
Delaware State unable to do anything with the favorable field position.
Little guy,
punt
Bobby
by Petaway proving to be huge.
5'6" wide receiver.
Again, the defense for the Bulldogs coming up big will force a punt of their own here. for Romo Martinez.
Yeah, it looked like an approachment right there. The center snapped the ball a little bit early just because Baltimore's defensive line came in
quite well. The Hornets might be able to touch this up inside the 5, and they do. It's the battle of the punters so far here at Bulldog Stadium.
It was a penalty, so
you're absolutely right. And the coverage team didn't even have to do much. A nice little wrinkle at the end, and the way that the football in that oblong shape just stays inside the 5-yard line. You just have to touch it. Didn't bounce into the end zone. A great punt.
Fidel Romo Martinez, the older brother of the kicker for Delaware State, Jose Romo Martinez, both out of Banning, California.
Line after picking up 3.
Tough little play right there for
Fidel
They rolled their quarterback,
is the
sort of like
junior. They're both at around 6 foot, 200 pounds.
Seals that line, so he has the potential to just get to the
great punt.
Yeah, if you're going to be highlighting the punters and kickers, though, not great so far.
Right
The offenses, at least. And here is Nick in his own end zone. Will hand it off.
Right there, but Greenhow makes a great one-handed catch.
Here's Mays.
Yielding not
looking
much
out left side. The throw downfield is going to be too far for Grayson Green, the wide receiver.
Number 24.
Out of Cleveland Heights. He was slanting toward the boundary line over on the far side. Between two
big playmaker here for South Carolina State typically is Burrows. Vereen,
no harm done.
Move the chains guy, and Cummings is an all kind of different facet individual. We've not seen a lot of Jarius Jenkins so far, which we did last week against Bethune-Cookman.
It almost looked like they were playing
did a pretty solid job too.
As soon as someone came into his area, Dixon had to come up, and it left a nice little gap right there in the zone.
2nd and 9 for Nick now. Zone read keeps it wisely.
Picks it back up, throws downfield, it goes incomplete. He just chucked it as hard as he could, trying to find Robert Corbin Jr.
We mentioned that he can keep the ball and he can run as well as pass. And right there, I think a good decision, especially with the weather conditions. He's going to receive the snap and just goes right off tackle and gets a pretty good yardage, a manageable 33.
No slouch. He averages 72 yards on the ground.
Could be trouble because the wind all of a sudden has gotten really strong.
South Carolina State.
Blowing across the
big
field,
3rd and 3 coming up
now.
here as the Bulldogs try to get something going on offense.
If there was one weakness I had to pick for the Central State team, it'd be their
Nick
punt
kind
team,
of disrupted there, but he might be able to lean forward for that first down marker.
You'll put it
they do. They'll give it to him. It's a first down. Move the chains here for the Bulldogs.
Your athleticism, D. Hanson, because
he was for the touchback and the Colonials
dead to rights for a loss in the backfield by the Del State defense, and makes a little shifty inside move and then lunges, and the athleticism, the grass drill as we called it, keep the ball in the opposite hand down, and then dive to try to get as much distance out of the end of the run, and that's enough for a first.
Nick last week against Bethune-Cookman, 20 carries, 128 yards. So
first and 10 from the 20-yard line. Robert Morris wearing their home blue tops, blue pants,
and keep things going here. Another set of downs to work with for the Bulldogs, still deep in their own territory, and it is nice decision again on the option to the right to keep it again and tuck it in. Now the Bulldogs seem to have a little bit of rhythm going on with their offense.
Will go to
this drive started on their own 4,
Jackson,
so it's nice to see.
Found a yard, and that's
big numbers
refused to go down.
Towards the sideline, meaning that they're gaining yardage and getting away from their own end zone.
Good job by Central State. They held up the offensive line this time at the line of scrimmage. Jackson had nowhere to go. Nothing in the middle.
6 to go here.
To the outside, and then defensive end.
Inching closer to the end of the first quarter.
Big mitts right there, grabbed him. He was able to hold on to him enough to let the rest of the defense come down and bring him down for only 1 yard
again.
Nick
throws it forward. It is picked up
this time to the left. Gonzalez is also just off the line to the right. Here's Walker back to pass. Throws one. Matthew Barr makes the catch at the 41-yard line. Gets hit
and the thought was right. You could actually, as long as Nick was behind the line of scrimmage, he could have actually pushed it forward, but it would have gone incomplete. But if he was past the line of scrimmage, you may wonder if a flag was coming.
Matchups right there. He gets past the first wave, and then right over next to him is
somehow got it out of his hands.
Throw the ball up so he can catch it, secure the ball,
and they may be calling incomplete pass.
I can see them start using him a little bit more like they use Gonzalez.
Now Gonzalez comes in motion to the left side where McGee is already positioned.
Anything around
here comes Elijah
6,
Jackson
7 yards or less, I say it's manageable to pick up on third down, but in these conditions.
So now it'll be Nick to pass it right side, and it is complete.
Jackson, a 2-time Northeast Conference.
3rd and 6 for a first down.
Rookie of the week.
And
Jermaine Baxley
move the chains.
Second down, a little more than 5.
And you had mentioned that Baxley
into the backfield now.
Had some receptions and
Here's the handoff.
This attempt is successful. Chains being moved in the first down.
Also do it for the first quarter of play. The Bulldogs have something going finally in offense, but we'll have to wait to the second quarter to see how that will come to play, as the defenses have come up big in this game so far between Delaware State and South Carolina State. You're watching MEAC football right here on ESPN.
One of the hybrid defenses, I think, stands out, rush the passer as well, outside linebacker, build kids, but you can see the mode that the defense has.
Two flankers, two tight ends for Robert Morris. Blitz coming. And Jack
get up to $3,000 cash back or 0% APR and test drive any crossover for a chance to win.
Drive your ambition. Mitsubishi Motors.
Back here, as you can see, Oliver C. Dawson Stadium right there. No score between Delaware State and South Carolina State. Both offenses looking kind of rough right now, trying to get their running games going. As you can see right now, the Bulldogs, so he flipped sides, and we'll start going left to right now. Jarius Jenkins had been a stalwart for this offense at least last week, and now he's going to get, I think they're going to feed the beats here a little bit more steam here in the second quarter of play against Delaware State.
Maybe they were tenderizing the Del State defense in the first quarter, and now allowing Jenkins to come in.
Checks out.
Second the team in rushes with 38, but that's been closing. He's been closing the gap between him and Natron James as far as the leading rusher on this team. Nick now looking to the air, will do so left side of the field, bobbled, and I believe caught. What a tough catch in Delaware State territory, able to bring that one down and move the chains is Quan Caldwell.
And Caldwell's been targeted for some passes in there, right? That's probably the most difficult of all of them, because the others that sailed over his head didn't give him an opportunity to make a catch, and right there, great concentration.
Has his second touchdown reception of the afternoon.
Nick finally connecting through the air on a reasonably sized yardage play. Might loosen things up for the running game. Jenkins will not get the carry. Instead, Nick will keep it, slung around, still on his feet, somehow eludes tacklers. Look at this run, mid through the middle and gets to the 35.
Makes it a 21-7 lead.
It's a first down, though. And you talk about a lot of athleticism, vision, and just moxie to will his way downfield. Because there were four different Delaware State defenders that could have had an opportunity to make a tackle. They touched him, but they didn't get him down until after a first down.
That's easily the most impressive run we've seen from Nick this season.
And the big thing is, to me, Chris, is their defense got to stop last time, forcing Central State to.
I mean, he has a long 35, but now nearly gets picked off.
For a touchback, and
looking for Burrows. And a great defensive attempt by the defender from the secondary.
Getting set to kick away.
Newbow.
Robert Morris.
Number 2.
Kick will travel
Junior.
right to left. He'll use the near hash mark.
And I'm trying to figure out, is it Jihad? J-A-H-A-D.
Benson kicked
Newbow.
short the last time. A pop-up ball.
Second and 10.
He is with a run-up. And
just want to make sure the names are good. It's not Steve. Is it Jihad? Is it Jihad? You don't know.
The return is on. Saffold will bring it back. Cuts over to the far side. 30, 35, 40.
Low snap again, and Nick decided to keep it this time and again.
But not until he gets into Robert Morris territory, close to the 45-yard
2 yards as opposed to his last run. But
Benson had 2 big tackles in the Duquesne game last week.
And Moses Dupree, the defensive lineman for Del State, number 57, motioning that his teammates were held, or he may have been held.
Duquesne last week with 2 big hits. Should have been. I know they look for stats and teams that win, but he made 2 outstanding big hits, something that kickers typically don't do. And he's getting confidence out there, Chris. Great open field tackle by him. It's unfortunate.
Caused that disruption there in the defense again. Delaware State's been getting in the backfield.
Sure, here's
58 did hold 57.
Takes the reverse now, and now will
a correct
around the right side edge.
Assessment by the Delaware State defense.
The
ball moved back to the 45 of Delaware State. Second and 25. You don't need to get everything on this play, but get some positive yards.
Mickle on the hole. Again, another low snap, by the way, but Nick able to corral it and to throw it downfield right side. And a bit and a tad underthrown. That one intended for Jermaine Baxley.
That was a long way to throw a football, because that's all the way across from the left to the right side of the field in this inclement weather, and almost a 50-yard pass to get to your receiver and the defender making a nice adjustment and batting the ball away harmlessly to the turf.
3:33 showing on the first quarter clock with the Colonials ahead 21-7.
Coverage there defensively for Delaware State will cause us to go third and long for Nick.
Before he could turn it upfield.
Now he'll throw it and he'll get hit as he does so.
Incomplete.
Now we've seen both defenses be able to get to the quarterback as they're in their throwing motion and 4th and long after what a promising drive looked like here for South Carolina State on a ridiculous run will now
Chris, what they're doing is
be
they're
stopped
going to
cold.
like a 3-4 personnel.
And right there, you have to credit the defensive effort by Delaware State as the charge did not give up, as Isaiah Williams comes through, and number 90 just puts enough of his body and arm on Tyrese Nick in the throwing motion.
Straight drop, throws right
away.
Side,
he's had a great game so far. Gets this one away.
Comes up empty. Incomplete.
Short kick, obviously intended to be that way. He's trying to inch as close to that 10-yard line, waiting as much as they can. Are the Bulldogs, and they'll touch it up at the 12. Delaware State will get their offense out on the field. No score here in Orangeburg. Watch MEAC Football on ESPN.
Direct TV. More for you, I think. That's our thing.
Set up 3 wide to the right side.
3 wide to the right, Christian right. Maybe hold out to the
Still no score here at Bulldog Stadium, where South Carolina State plays host to Delaware State MEAC action. D. Hanson joined by Steve Foster. Second quarter, we're just getting underway with it. For the most part, Delaware State with their first offensive set here will hand it off left and tripped up before he can even really get going.
Left, first quarter of play.
About a 1-yard gain here. That's kind of how the Hornets have had their luck
on ESPN,
so far here this afternoon. Brian Dallas couldn't get his feet underneath him just as he got the football.
You're right, and good pursuit, though, from the defensive line of the Bulldogs as well.
Daniel still out of quarterback play, action throw right. Nice catch. A little low and still running to the 20 to the 21-yard line. It's about 1.5 yards shy of the first down there. Isaiah Williams, the tight end, able to get that ball and would nearly hit the ground.
Yeah, great attempt in catching the ball. Then he scoots past the defender that could have had him for no gain or a loss, and then makes a move upfield.
Back out
3rd and 2.
They will try to go for it on 4th down.
Running the football up the middle this time. And again, it is Dallas on the carry.
Offside, and it's dropped by Terrera Sapple, the intended receiver. And I'll tell you what, it was set up nicely that time.
See the mark.
The only thing they didn't do was complete the ball.
Good pursuit off the edge.
Great pursuit off the edge. He might lean forward enough to get a first down. We'll see.
That's Ford. Number 35 coming off the left edge. And
looks like a little bit of a delay screen. And
so here comes yet another punt, Steve.
Punt team.
Legs might fall off.
Yeah, they're young.
Romo Martinez.
They're young.
Take over on downs. First down and 10 from their own 35-yard line.
41.3 average on the year. The lefty able to get it away.
Here's Walker back.
Bowes driven back all the way to his own 30-yard line. Now he's at his 21, and he gets brought down there.
And it is
Special teams here has also been on display. Jordan Hanna able to make the stop, the junior.
They did a great job, and I understand what the Bows trying to do, just trying to run away from that initial coverage, that gunner coming down, and the win goes to Del State there, and the loss is about 9 yards on the attempt, because if you can get away, there was the wall set up near side coming towards the Bulldog bench, but good play in there on special teams by Delaware State.
The catch is hit by Devin Cunningham and pushed over backwards.
So now
Tyrese Nick to the Colonial 44-yard line,
offense once again. 4 wideouts to work with. There's a little bit of movement there, no flags. Nick gets away from one defender, heaves it right, and it will be caught at the 45-yard line, and Yak will get this ball all the way to around the 33 on that reception here for the Bulldogs. And Jermaine Baxley, they've been going a lot to Baxley, and he finally converts.
Yes, and that's a great attempt by Nick just to get the ball off, and it was on the money. And with all this weather and defense in his face, you can see pressure off the edge.
Oh, what a bad
and
break
Nick steps
for
up,
Elijah Jackson.
wards off a defender, takes a shot when he leaves, lets the ball go, and it leaves his hands. And then downfield, just a great reception on the other end.
And the recovery made
Nick
by
coming off
Johnson.
the...
Having a tough time, nearly got to him,
First
and
down
now
and 10 at
Nick
the Colonial 48.
come off the field
yeah,
a
Rob Morris
little
right
bit.
behind John Sheldon and Matthew Fennell.
Yeah, he hung in there.
They picked up the first
I don't know if it's his throwing arm,
like he was just
or he just needs some support.
Yes.
Doesn't fall over.
Held him up, stripped that ball away,
Great.
This is a tough blow here for the offense for South Carolina State. He is definitely the straw.
And he took a shot, that being Nick, the quarterback, by number 25, Michael Chris Ike, or at least someone who has 25 as well as Michael Chris Ike.
Alvin Giles McClary is your quarterback now, the senior, redshirt senior out of Kingstree, South Carolina. He'll look left, throw left, nice ball, and it's incomplete, but
jam at the line.
It was a good-looking pass, going straight to the air. You have no reservation as you get your quarterback in there from Bennett Swigert in his first year as the OC to go straight for the end zone.
And Wolverine almost made the adjustment needed downfield. But now we can say Juhad Niebauer.
To the right.
We got the correct pronunciation for number 2 for Delaware State.
Out and it comes out Giles McClary incomplete this time. Jimenez was in coverage for Robert Morris, but another great
nice
effort.
Look at this offense as he's been in it for a while. Flare it left for a modest gain on the play. That's Juan Caldwell. They'll bring up a third and around, I guess, 7 to go.
Well, at least the senior not afraid to just rear back and find a man, and he's been on target.
Nice ball.
He really is challenging EJ Jimenez.
Good catch.
Going after him
Monitor here of Nick. He's able to get back into this one as well, but
they're just not able to make that connection.
Now some movement on the line, flags all over the place, and a free
Giles
play.
McClary's been able to get the job done so far, seemingly so after a couple passes.
And a fight for the football, and it comes down into the receiver, Kevin Greenhouse's hands. He was able to take it right out of the
exclusively right, will throw right and just out
as they both went up. And that flag at the line of scrimmage would have been against Robert Morris because it appeared to me that Amir Benwick got pulled across the line
no man's
area here of the field, though.
That penalty.
South Carolina State, we'll see what they do.
I think you just go for it.
Well, I mean, the way these offenses have been going, you got
jump
this
ball,
is
and Muehlbauer looked like he was going to go for an interception.
Penetration into the defender's territory we've seen from either side.
That's right. And with a quarterback that has been on target, except for that last pass.
It's Caldwell in the slot to bottom of your screen.
Central
a timeout will be taken on the field.
White tops, crimson numerals,
Delaware State
pants, crimson helmets. Marauders with the ball, first and goal from the 7. Here's
we'll see what happens on the other side of this one as South Carolina State's going
Kevin
forward on
Greenhouse
4th and 8, deep into Delaware State territory, watching MEAC Football on ESPN.
Defense, and this time dropping.
It's hard to stop the train.
I'm not sure if Central is even going to snap the football, and they will not.
Any concerns around Tyree Snick?
They're going to let it line down to 0.
Well,
We're at the end of
you can judge it for yourself. Tyree Snick getting off the field, the quarterback for South Carolina State, he is definitely the biggest cog in how this offense runs. Had his left wrist, his non-throwing wrist, wrapped pretty well with tape. Looks like he'll be coming back in this football game at some time. But instead, it's a 4th and 8, rushing out of the pocket and throwing it to the 5-yard line. And we'll see if this is complete or not. No, they're going to say incomplete on the pass there from Giles McClary, trying to hit Gerald Manigault on the run, and a flag also on top of that.
Now, this ought to be interesting because this can determine what's going on, but it looks like it's against South Carolina State.
I quickly announced it, didn't see exactly what the penalty was for, but it is against the Bulldogs and accepted.
Looks like a
not accepted. Okay, so it is accepted, so it's 4th down and long, and punting away from his own territory now will be Pettaway. Jerome Pettaway. He will see no pressure. Angles it left. Goes into the end zone for a touchback. So Delaware State averting. Now we have a little scrum at the 25 in front of the Hornets bench. These are two teams that are already coming in really testy, considering South Carolina State's had a tough go at it most of the season at 1-5. I don't think that was entirely expected, and the Hornets have been abysmal. They've been 0-6 on the season. Still a lot of chirping here.
Joe Walton Stadium in Moon. Chris Shublin,
you have to remember also, Steve, 5 of their first 6 games have been on the road.
Throw into the end zone.
Now make it 6 of their first 7 games on the road because they're here in Orangeburg.
We're going to get
and
a pass interference call against the Colonials for a chuck in the back.
They're looking to get that first win, and that's tough, but it's a huge win for your team because it just gives you something that you just truly and literally hadn't had.
A little bit, right?
Yeah, we're still at 15 minutes.
Something.
Give me something.
Last week against Howard in Washington, D.C., 55-13.
Cam Newton's brother leading
standing in the
Howard.
End zone. The day
There's McDaniels now running, throwing, and completing. It looks as though, yes.
Although we do have a little bit of
at the 37-yard line.
A little bit, but
that is a tough pass on the run, although it's with your dominant hand, Selby, with the reception.
A great concentration on the sidelines to get at least 1 foot in.
Call Dickerson for pass interference.
2 wideouts to work with here for McDaniels, in quickly to the line.
Park, Pennsylvania.
Handoff goes clear for about a yard on the run.
Senior lean gets upended, literally, and falls for 3 feet.
The interior of this defense has been very good all season long against the run.
It has.
It's teams trying to get the edge, and sometimes they do.
Back in front of him, and Darius Metters. And Mays will go under center. Here's the handoff to Saffold. He'll slide left down the line of scrimmage, and he won't be able to get back to the line.
Very close to a first down, about 2 yards shy of 45.
Backwards by Tyler Lamica.
And a nice cut. We can see good inside handoff, goes through the B gap between the guard and the tackle on the left side, and then cuts up and then back. Good tackle to stop a first down by South Carolina State.
Wardell Brown, the first to get his paws on him and trying to with the lean. Just couldn't hold on to him. 3rd and 2.
Here's Mays rolling right, and it's going to be a little bit of a delay.
Will get the call again and the first down into Bulldog territory.
And that's a vision. Oh, and a late flag is deep by the umpire. That's a vision run right there. Nothing to the left, cuts back to the right, and Aline hobbling off after he picked up the yardage for the first time. We'll have to see what the penalty is.
1 minute into the second period of play. Robert Morris, 21, Central State 7. Marauders on the doorstep, however. 3 wide to the right side, 1 to the left. Two of the bigger names in this game, Nick and Aline, now checks off the play. Now the umpire comes up to the line.
Pun intended.
And
now we have an unsportsmanlike against Delaware State.
And we're going to get a
considering
flag.
the momentum on this drive, a killer so far possibly here for the Hornets.
The first down was picked up too. So now the ball inside the 40, and you're looking at long yardage to try to get the chains moved, which you already had, and you have an injury possibly to one of your best rushers.
Grayson Green, he just
check on that for you.
He heard a bark. He just
Tyrese Nick having his left wrist, his non-throwing hand.
But, you know,
pretty well wrapped up. Here's McDaniels going right side, and it will be nearly intercepted. You couldn't have much better coverage downfield. Coming underneath the pass was Dwayne Nichols.
And Nichols right there, anticipating the route. He does a great job coming underneath the receiver, D. Hansen, and almost makes the interception.
Freshman had a great game last week against Bethune-Cookman. Had 8 tackles and an interception.
Pass officially, even if it had
been going for the interception this week again.
Maybe 2. And now
nearly had it.
Central State looking at 4th down and goal to go from the 11 will bring their field goal unit out. And they will try a
blitz up the middle.
Trevor Teal.
Daniels gets it away. On his feet still. The looting tacklers past the 40. Getting inside there near the 37-yard line. And that's Trey Gross with the reception. He leads the team now with 20 catches, and he's nearly 300 yards now.
And it is good. It just
and that's a great, and that's a great pitch and catch. And
Teal
another flag.
For
just going to bring this play back again. This is why you haven't had a notch in the win column, because it seems every time Delaware State gets a chance, they're moving backwards because of a penalty.
This is a team that's second in the MEAC in rushing with 166 yards. Trying to go to that well once again, but now it goes absolutely nowhere. The interior defensive line getting the job done there, and it's going to be a million miles here for yards.
Paul McKeever, number 76, just barreling down in the backfield and just swallowed up the runner.
21-10 the tally right now, and
swallow you and me.
Darker all of a sudden.
Not thinking anything
as
of it.
The sun is being covered by the clouds. Just a few peaks of blue off.
3rd and 23.
In the distance out to our right. One over to the left up toward the airport area.
4 coming, and McDaniels will flare it out left.
Walton Stadium.
Oh,
the architect,
big hits.
The father of Robert Morris
continue
football
in
himself,
this game.
Walton will join us at halftime on our radio
barely
side.
anything on that reception. Going to the left-hand side
You'll be asking like real
was
like, hey, Coach,
C.
that
Woodward.
Woodward got crunched by the South Carolina State defense. He looked like he was in a rear-end accident as that neck and head whipped back after the Bulldogs cleaned him up from the inside-out pursuit D.
Del Romo Martinez out to punt.
Here's a short kick near side taken by Stevens, 16.
Bows deep to receive for South Carolina State.
Tries to break a tackle, gets up to the 28-yard line, and is dragged down by Isaiah Smith.
Fielded by DeBose, angling it right,
seniors on this
and he'll get just past the 40.
Good return. I like his vision.
Nice return. Now, South Carolina State will have their opportunity to get on the board for the first time in this game for either school. You're watching MEAC Football right here on ESPN.
We're pretty sure they don't belong either.
We belong to them.
Back in action, and we were describing the food a little bit before the broadcast started. And boy, they doing it up right so far in Orangeburg.
Chef Greg,
fair,
representing the Omega Phi Psi fraternity. You probably know Shaq,
Stevens takes the hand off again,
notable
up the middle it goes over the 40 and ahead to about the 43-yard line.
Nick is back in action after getting that wrist wrapped up.
Top of the pile and underneath it for Central State. Kalen
right out of the gate gets the offense moving forward with a nice little pitch and catch over to Demo Burrows.
Yeah, that's a nice little slip screen there. And Burrow's a big target, and he can bust tackles and break tackles, and now second and short, D.
6'2", 200. He is the largest target listed. And now
making offensive linemen miss and dancing around.
It will be very close, if not a first down. Helps first down run.
Gonzalez makes the catch on the sideline near side at the 49. Steps to
pushing and shoving
the 49-yard line in Central State territory.
Jahal Niebauer. Now that I have his name, now he's all in the mix.
Matthew Gonzalez will
wants me to say his name
with another Robert Morris
properly.
First down at the Central State.
Number 2 for Del State.
Back to the right-hand side now, and motion will bring 2 other blockers to the left. Nick will hand it off and sprinting through and then getting crushed near the 45.
They have an H-back in, and the handoff will go to Stevens, and he'll get cracked in the backfield.
Second down.
Sean Johnson, number 94, and then number 2, Niebauer.
By Shamar Moss.
And on the stop,
out of Columbus, and
modest gain, 2 yards.
Rain moderate now. It really was pouring at the beginning of this game.
We'll have an exhibition game there tomorrow at
noon.
A
little concern.
And it was scheduled to be a scrimmage. They've turned it into an exhibition to raise money for hurricane relief. So if you don't have anything to do tomorrow afternoon, it's a non-Steeler Sunday.
Dialing up more runs. This is
check out the Golden Flashes and
Coach Bennett Swigert, again, the offensive coordinator, not shy to get his now injured quarterback still going on with the legs because he realizes how much that is a part of this offense.
Well, good choice, because if Nick would have handed the ball off to his rusher, he may have had no gain. There he gets 4 yards.
Kalen Abrams was right on his tail, as was Lamont Montgomery.
So from a 2nd and 8, we go to the 3rd and 4.
Yeah, if you don't mind,
we're nearing the end of the first half. Nick going to the air, tipped and incomplete. There are a lot of white jerseys in that area. And
Caldwell.
That was a good stab down the middle, but well played by Isaiah Small.
Good coverage in the Delaware State secondary. Nick trying to take a chance, going up top.
Small climbing ladder,
the snap, looking
hitting
over the middle,
out of the air with that right
There's
hand.
McGee with an over-the-shoulder catch at the 20, 15, 10, 5 touchdowns.
Seesaw battle, as they call it.
No points being scored in seesaw.
Great play
Davis,
design right there on 3rd and 13, Chris. Great protection by the offensive line. They kept Gonzalez in to make sure it's some extra protection on the right-hand side.
High,
they do a great job looking through his first progressions, going to his second one, Brandon McKee wide open in that slot.
See what they're
a little bit of a difficult
that.
pass when you have someone
that is not something that, you know, South Carolina State have been really relying on. Both teams relying on their punters to try to battle in this field position.
Jack Holds, Biseglia kicks. It's tall, it's end over end, almost wind blown to the right, but he got it inside the right upright.
Even when that has not been the case, the Hornets have had good to great starting field position. The South Carolina State defense has
10:49 left in the second period of play.
You're absolutely right, and they're protecting their home field. Just need to get a score or two.
The drive went 71 yards,
South Carolina State put up 26
off the clock.
last week, so they can get in the end zone.
And the
South Carolina State 0-2 here at Bulldogs Stadium, looking for their first win at home. McDaniels out of the shotgun, long look and handoff, showing that ball. Aline seems to be fine after he did limp off in the last series, and he's back in business with that last run, and it's a good one.
Now being replaced, as mentioned before, number 30, Bryant Dallas, sharing the rushing duty.
Been mixing him and Dallas. Dallas 5'8", 200-pound junior out of Marietta, Georgia. Play action rollout right. Was caught. And getting up to the 45-yard line on that last little play over. And they're really mixing up now the tight end. We've called Isaiah Williams last 3 or 4 times. And he can move.
Right now is on fire.
Nice block there coming through.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not sure why the coaches were talking to the big tight end, because he picked up the first down and followed his blocks.
To the right, touchback is ruled. Central State will have the ball.
Stay in bounds, get some more.
25-yard line.
Here's the handoff spin by Dallas.
Second period of play.
Maybe
Robert Morris 28. Central
4,
State 10.
more likely 3.
Don't forget this Thursday night at the All-Star Sports Bar.
You're too big to go out of bounds.
It'll be
that shoulder.
Well, you get the first down, then that's what you wanted. That was a win for the Del State offense.
With huge crowds.
They crossed the 35.
Issue with 2 timeouts remaining.
There's always something going on.
McDaniels now will have to run with it. Good coverage downfield, and he's finally brought down for a sack at the 32.
We mentioned the South Carolina State Bulldogs on defense, and right there, they give up the first down, and then they get a sack.
Bruce Johnson in on that one. His second tackle
Here's
for
the
a loss
fullback
on
finding it
the
opening
season.
and rumbling
Senior getting the
down
job
that
done.
left side.
Yes,
Darius
and
Metters.
he got some help
And Metters runs
to corral.
down. Yeah, as a matter of fact, he got past the 50-yard line
The
into
quarterback,
Colonial territory to
Lane
the 48,
Jones, number 45 as well,
give.
down low.
Yeah, surprise give to the physical fullback, and nobody wanted to tackle him.
4 down.
Flag on the play. Looks like there's going to be a block in the back.
Running the clock, a 3rd and 13, a big one here, and a screen. Aline drops it, stops the clock at 1:02, or it should make it 1:01. Now South Carolina State will get the ball back, depending on how this punt goes, with 3 timeouts remaining.
Yes, and right there, the defense of South Carolina State to force the punt. They read the screen to the far side well, and even if that ball was caught, most likely there wouldn't have been enough to pick up a first down. And you're absolutely correct. You go to your 2-minute drill, no huddle, and see what you can do with 3 timeouts if you're the Bulldogs, and hopefully get a good return of the punt.
Martinez to punt from his own 18-yard line. DeBose to receive.
Zips one downfield.
Redshirt junior out of Darlington, South Carolina.
Was running inside
the ball is blocked
down the far side
and run back inside the 30 to the 19-yard line. Huge special teams play.
Yes, it was, and a great job by the South Carolina State Bulldogs. It looked like it was just a little bit too long, and letting the punt get to the foot and released, and right there, great pressure up the middle, off the edge actually from the left side, and actually number 21. The receiver coming through and making a great stop, and Baxley getting the hand out and tipping the ball.
And then Colin Washington returning it. He's going to hold on to that ball.
It's not his.
It's my ball.
But it's Delaware State's ball. No matter.
He was face guarding him the whole time, which is legal.
So now it will be Nick going to the end zone right out of the gate, and incomplete.
Great look.
Up there on the right side. Here's Mays. High snap, jumps up, brings it down, gives out to the fullback. Metters once again, 50, 45, 40.
Trying to hit Scott Robinson, the freshman.
Still rumbling down.
Scott Robinson made a move and was
jumped at the 23
tearing his way into the end zone, and Nick tried to catch him.
A weapon that we didn't
plenty of time. especially considering you're at the Hornets' 29-yard line with 3 timeouts.
I like the first down, take a shot. Now see if you can move the change. You have 3 timeouts.
I'm telling, I mean, if you get a touchdown here, that might do it. Here's Nick now, and he will run it out. 20, 15, 15.
Sample is out right now. It's Metters playing
down to the
tailback spot.
5-yard line.
He is the fullback, and this time he runs to the right side of the line and gets dumped over backwards.
3 timeouts too. If you really want to talk about it, you don't have to hurry.
See Fenwick at the bottom of that line.
Timeout taken on the field by South Carolina State.
Wise. Plenty of time now. 15 feet away right here. Nick decides to pull the ball down and makes a cut to his left. Almost gets enough of a block, but it does bring him inside the 10 to the 5. And just calm everybody down and take the timeout, regroup. You only have 15 feet for a pay dirt.
Made mention McDaniels on a couple of occasions, the quarterback for the Hornets
backpedaling, throwing out right side.
Feel the pressure.
Out of the backfield, 20,
brought down.
Far side, down near the
we have seen Tyrese Nick now on a few occasions this season, and he seems to have really good pocket presence and poise in the pocket. That time, he knew when he was needing to run that football, and he picked a great time to do it.
Yes, that looked like it was a design pass, but wisely when, you know, everything opens up in front of you, especially with under a minute to go.
Manigault now will get the carry, and he will get into the end zone. Our first touchdown of the game. South Carolina State from 5 yards out has 6 on the board.
Here's the run to Saffold. He gets
a lot of whistles going on. I'm not sure.
Cuts around
it's
the right
end, Burrows in the end zone.
Extracurriculars after the fact.
Inside the 10 and get bumped down at the 7-yard line.
Is it the flamboyance of the wide receiver, or is it the dejection from the defense? Looks like it may be on Burrows.
For a loss on the play, it's like they just jumped on him and didn't wrap up, and they just hit him backwards.
Touchdown will hold.
His ability to sidestep the tackles a little bit. They can't wrap up, and he explodes to the right-hand side. Now 1st and goal for Central State.
Trips right.
Sportsmanlike conduct there against SC State.
Coming out of the backfield.
Burrows.
Is that a lateral pass?
It's flamboyance of the wide receiver.
Incomplete after the 10-yard line. Saffold had to come off of his fingertips. Second time that's happened today.
Flamboyance against the wide receiver.
Right, he saw the ball on the
that could apply to defensive backs, by the way.
But they both
have that.
They're the same people, just on the other side of the ball. One
exactly. They're just letting him check to make sure
but their mindsets are absolutely the same.
Now we do have Montrez Burrows being escorted.
No, I think he may just be going into the half early.
38 seconds to go. I don't know. It's rare that you see somebody leave.
Mays, quick toss, right side, screen pass, and that one is caught by the little guy, Bobby Gist.
I don't.
Gist able to get some blocking.
I don't have an answer for you on that
time in that trip set.
Bredesen.
Run it downfield to inside the 3-yard
for the extra point.
I don't have an answer.
7 of 10 of the year for PATs. They're going to assess this on the extra point.
Yes, that makes sense.
They try to go 3 wide receivers to the right-hand side.
Because there's no sense of really doing it on the kickoff.
To the right, didn't work out. A little bit of a low ball. Allowed Rob Morris to rally to hold him to maybe a 2.
I'm not sure that he hasn't been let go
for the rest of the
pink slip for this game. Here's the extra point attempt by
with Brian Cleary.
Bredesen, and he will knock it through. After the penalty with 38 seconds to go, SC State has the lead.
Over the
first score of the game here by Manigault from 5 yards out, making it 7-0 with 38 seconds to go, and we'll see if the Hornets try to do anything here in this first half. More than likely try to just run some time, but now we have another flag. It's been getting increasingly chippy here throughout the course of this second quarter.
I'll say, to say the least.
Now Coach Pugh will.
So now it looks like it's going to be on Del State, because Coach Pugh motioning with.
Central State brings Metters back into play. Fullback Saffold is in the eye behind him.
Wow.
2 receivers left. Here's a rollout by Mays. Scissor play. Mays sets up, stops now. A shovel pass forward goes incomplete. Trying to get it to Saffold, who is at the 1-yard line, just outside of the left pylon as they were running near side.
Absolutely right. And you see, and it's not actually on the holder or the kicker, it's roughing the snapper, is what they call.
Field goals are not going to win you this game. You got to go for it right here. and keep
everything's clean there. You just see
got to drive 98 yards for any type of score.
Delaware State coming through
right there.
Offense out there, it seems like they're good.
Cedric Burrell is in his 5th year as head coach.
John Sides kick here.
1992 graduate of Babel, Tuskegee.
1-5. You've got to get more wins in conference play.
In at quarterback.
And you've been able to keep Delaware State, who has no wins on the season, to no points. But no.
They'll fake it to him, and now
kick it through the end zone.
The ball ends up in the hands of Kevin Greenhow, the wide receiver who came into the backfield. He tried to throw it to Mays in the right corner near the back pylon, and it goes incomplete. So a little trickery.
To check on Burrows. That'll be interesting.
It's going to be, yeah, we've got to figure that out, but I believe that's exactly what ended up happening.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be on them holding, possibly the defense.
Which makes no sense when you scored the touchdown. This makes no sense.
Yep.
Holding on Central State.
I know there's a lot of jawing and different things like that, but
Colonials will take possession of the football.
You mean it makes no sense for you to do that?
Exactly.
You can't get thrown out even though you scored a touchdown.
Oh, exactly.
I'd like to see them maybe do that on 3rd down. Then on 4th down, you can get the
think most. Yeah, you did.
Yeah. McDaniels now will come in and see what the Hornets do here. They're going to just go ahead and run with a lean and get out of this first half of only giving up the 7 points on the board, which is by far their best defensive output or effort in the season.
Because they usually give up 50.
They usually give up a lot more.
Now, does that mean the second half is just going to be?
No, that's not what that means. They've given up 98 points in the first quarter. They've given up 83 points in the second quarter. They've given up 85 in the third quarter. The fourth quarter, they're good. They've only given up 38 points.
Well, maybe the other teams take their people out, too, and don't
I'm imagining that's the case, yes, Steve. Yeah. That's going to do it here for the first quarter of play, where the Delaware State Hornets find themselves down 7-0 here on the road against South Carolina State and the Bulldogs. Yes, it has been a battle of defenses between these two schools, but we did have just now a late touchdown from 5 yards out by Manigault, making it 7-0, and the Bulldogs will carry that into halftime with that lead. You are watching MEAC Football right here on ESPN.
Cool Severe with Vicks VapoCool, the vaporizing, nighttime coughing, aching, stuffy head, best sleep with a cold medicine.
The Colonials allow 2 points. They give up the safety, and they'll have to
last win in Orangeburg in South Carolina for Delaware State. They won 17-16 and 0-7, and right now not shaping up for that way right as the South Carolina State Bulldogs have a 7-0 lead at home here to the Delaware State Hornets. You are watching MEAC Football on ESPN.
And as you mentioned, Brian, 28-12 is the score now. Robert Morris in the lead. Central
Yes,
State
it has been a defensive battle so far here in Orangeburg, South Carolina, between South Carolina State and the Hornets of Delaware State. But the offense having a hard time getting on track as well. Bulldogs have the lead, though, 7-0 here at halftime in Orangeburg. You're watching MEAC Football on ESPN.
Because now you have to
be limp-worthy. Goodyear, more driven.
I'm watching Coach Holder, who's the offensive line coach. He's actually
back here in Orangeburg, South Carolina, Bulldog Stadium. D. Hanson joined by Steve Foster here on ESPN as we look at now South Carolina State leading 7-0 against Delaware State. And it's been all defense on both sides, Steve.
Yes, it has. Isaiah Williams here disrupting the pass from Nick. Ball falling harmlessly to the turf. And they're right here. Jenkins trying to run and getting stopped by 2 defenders. And right there, Julong Niemeyer with the pass breakup, and on the other side, Ford coming in and making a tackle. Gets a lean. And Gilchrist also from that second level linebacker position, making a stop in the backfield. Can't forget about big 76, so McIver. Get a close-up of him with no helmet on there as well. More pressure coming up the middle by the defensive line of South Carolina State.
Hey, Chris, we really thought last week
did a big play here with the block punt.
That's right. Baxley, number 21. It's on the offensive side of the ball, but right there, gets in on special teams and gives the Bulldogs great position. And then, from 5 yards out, we see number 37 run the ball in the
second half coming up. You're watching MEAC Football right here on ESPN.
Card. Earn 4% cash back on dining and 4% on entertainment. Now when you go out, you cash in. What's in your wallet?
Now is out by himself to the left. Single coverage on him. Here's the give. It's going to be the big fullback once again.
Back here to Orangeburg, South Carolina, where we have a 7-0 lead here with South Carolina State up here at home against Delaware State. Delaware State having a tough time. They've been on the road quite a bit during this season. They're 0-6. 5 of those games have been on the road. After this game, they will have 3 of the next 4 at home, but business needs to be taken care of here for the Hornets if they want any shot of getting back into this conference race. Obviously, that might be put on hold for a little bit, but how do they get this offense back on track here against South Carolina's defense, South Carolina State's defense, which has been pretty good this season?
I tell you, they have to use the run to set up the pass, and that's working. And McDaniel's been making good decisions, but again, I think the defense is winning. And I'm not sure if the offense can overcome great defense. As much as an offensive guy that I was, defense does win championships and games.
Well, so far, the running game, they thought both of those would get on track, having a hard time for both schools as well. 7-0 the lead again here for South Carolina State. They will get the ball to start out the second half as well. But before we get to that third quarter of play, we will see how the bands are doing out on the field here at Bulldog Stadium.
I get those all the time. Hey, what are you doing? I'm on the air.
Quick pass out to the right side on 2nd down and 17.
So pretty clad.
So we are going to go ahead and get on the other side of this one here at Bulldog Stadium. 7-0 lead here for South Carolina State against Delaware State. You're watching MEAC Football on ESPN.
I'm next.
South Carolina State University. Are you next?
Back here at Bulldog Stadium, D. Hansen and Steve Foster. South Carolina State with a 7-0 lead here against Delaware State and the Hornets. Fans continue to get going here in Orangeburg, South Carolina, in MEAC play, where the Bulldogs will have the ball to start out this second half.
Yeah, and I think that they established that they can move the ball and get the pay dirt. So some's good and more's better as Tyrese Nick looks to move this offense down the field for homecoming 2018.
Tyrese Nick did get nicked up in the first half of play. He injured his right wrist. Has been summarily wrapped up and got right back in the game after missing a few plays. We also have an update for you on Demo Burrows, the junior wideout out of Charlotte, North Carolina. He actually had 2 unsportsmanlike penalties in the first half. In the second one, obviously, that would constitute him being ejected out of the game, so he will not be back here in the second half. That's a big blow here for the offense. He's a big play threat.
Yeah, he is. The only good thing about that is that other receivers have already been getting into this offense in the first half.
Here is the kickoff from Delaware State, and it is going to be fielded at around the 10-yard line and then blown up. Manigault, who has the lone score in this game, returned it, and then he got smashed. Thought he had a lane somewhere, and then Brooks Parker said, no, you don't.
Now, the good thing is, though, Manigault holds on to the football, and I'm okay with you getting only to the 16. I'm not okay if you turn the ball over and lose possession.
Well, in this game, that would be huge. We've had really a battle of punts in this game to see who has better field position to shorten the field for the offenses. And to this point, we have the 7 on the board, late stages of the second quarter. 38 seconds to be exact. Here is Nick with an option pitch, right-hand side, and then reversing field left is Datron James. Left sideline, and then he is bounced out of bounds into Delaware State territory. And a great start to this third quarter.
And I love the call, and I love the vision for the run. And heck, if I'm James, I want to stay in. I know people say, well, gosh, it's running 40 or 50 yards. Well, so what? We run sprints at the end of practice. You're a running back. Running backs run.
45 on that one. His previous long was 16. James will come out for a bit of a breather, but not a bad way to get back at you, though, with another quick hit, though, from Jarius Jenkins, another good running back for South Carolina State. Gets about 2 yards.
Previewed that there was going to be that sophomore two-person running attack, and right there you see it, 18 and 32.
Two redshirt sophomores, play action. Here's Nick, deep right, going for the end zone, incomplete. Trying to find Quan Caldwell on the near side corner of the end zone. That'll bring up a third down.
Nick throws a pretty pass, especially with none of the elements affecting a throw, but just over the outs, stretched hands and body of Caldwell and the defense. But it's good to know from 30 yards, the range of Nick can get the ball in the end zone.
Scott Robinson to the slot to the right-hand side will be the one that's thrown to, and he will not catch it at around the 20-yard line. 3rd and 8, that looked as good as caught, and it was not. Jahad Niebauer in on the Niebauer in on the coverage.
And I think from what I could see here in the replay, the freshman could have brought this ball in a tight spiral. And yes, absolutely lost concentration. As I always say, the most important part of the catch is at the end.
Great camera work there to see how that should have been caught. And now here is
one of the most popular guys on homecoming, the punter for South Carolina State, has done a great job today.
He will get it away on a 4th and 8. Hits at the 7-yard line, and it will be, I believe it was down at the 2. Great by South Carolina State. So tough go there for the Bulldogs. Delaware State up here on offense. When we come back, you're watching MEAC Football on ESPN. He's coming up big once again here in Orangeburg.
Yes, and number 51, Josh
Ringle,
making the stop inside the 5.
Quickly now, Hornets trying to get out of their own end zone, and they will do so by going to a lean with the carry, something that the Hornets have been calling on for the majority of this season, and this game is no exception to that. A lean coming in. Bryson Aline, averaging around 47 yards per game. Has around 70 carries on the season. And this time he gets the ball again and doesn't go anywhere.
Good stop at the line of scrimmage coming from the second level. We see here Ford, or actually, excuse me, Gathers coming in number 9, and you know you double number a lot in college, so you got to make sure you have the defensive player, not the offensive player.
McDaniels, the sophomore, will hand it off to the left, and this defense, conservative play calling deep in your own territory, can totally get that, but that brings up a 4th and 2 now, and Hornets will have to punt it away.
Lean swallowed up in the backfield by the South Carolina. No, great penetration at the point of attack, and a swarming defense of 3 players all over the rusher, led by Bruce Johnson, number 98, and company.
Senior defensive end has been highlighted majority of the season too, and he really spearheads the defensive line. Deep in his own territory, here's Romo Martinez. At the A, has it blocked again. The second block in this game. Ball is still loose on the ground. I don't know if the Hornets thought you could just touch it and then it'd be dead. And at the 7-yard line, the Bulldogs will start first and goal to go.
Yes, not even 1st and 10, and a great effort again by the punt team, the punt return team by South Carolina State. They get in again and just taking too long, and a great effort
Gerard Jones with the recovery, and that was Lane Jones with the block on that with his right hand.
I'm going to say that's a great coverage from all of the guys on South Carolina State, because everybody gets up for penetration and then somebody blocks, and then you have to cover the ball to possess it.
Actually has been an integral part of this offense at a wide out to the right in the slot. Watch for him. Here's Nick, though, and instead he'll keep it left-hand side. He'll try to get into the end zone, lowers that right shoulder, and gets to the 1 yard line. They'll bring up a second down and goal to go, and boy, has Nick been beat up in this game.
Well, the thing is, if you put the ball fundamentally in the opposite hand, you can keep that defender away from your body. But remember, Nick has that opposite hand wrapped. So
Nigel Bynum on the stop. Here's the handoff. Manigault strolls in untouched. Touchdown Bulldogs. Manigault with both scores in this game.
Yes, and now
we'll see, there might be a flag on the play. It looks as though all the Bulldogs are motioning it's against the Hornets, and that's exactly the case.
So Manigault from 2 yards out here, picked up where he left off towards the end of the first half. And number 37 just follows again on the right side. Same play call, off tackle on the right, and goes in untouched again, and doesn't take a lot of time.
So here comes the extra point. Low snap is blocked. And blocks galore in this game. Special teams coming to the forefront, make it 13-0. 11:26 left here in the third quarter of play. The Bulldogs extend their lead here at home against the Hornets. You're watching MEAC Football right here on ESPN. It's 13-0 now. South Carolina State getting a touchdown run from Manigault, a second of the game, to get up by 13 on Delaware State here in MEAC play on ESPN. Dee Hanson joined by Steve Foster. Thanks for joining us here this afternoon from Orangeburg, South Carolina. The Bulldogs kicking it off from their 35 will be short and high. Fair caught at the 16-yard line. The Hornets will start from there. The offense for Delaware State, we've seen some flashes. Aline had some moments. We've seen passing downfield. We've seen Jack McDaniels trying to find something off of the right-hand side, the left-hand side short, which both teams trying to go deep. Nothing much has worked on offense, especially for the Hornets.
No, it hasn't. And they have played well between the 20s, but that's not going to get them on the scoreboard.
No, to this point, it has certainly not done that. And Delaware State at 11.8 points per game. Hardly an offensive juggernaut, but expect them to have a little bit more success, and they are not against this, what is becoming more and more of a really well-rounded defense for South Carolina State.
Yeah, and I believe as seasons go, some of these guys are going to step to the forefront, and they're contributing early in their collegiate careers.
Yeah, and, the Hornets continue, though, to go to Aline here in the third quarter. They are not stopping what's gotten here. Now you know why. He bursts through the line. Midfield, goes right side. Aline out of bounds inside the 30.
Good run and great vision. And Aline stays with his blockers, just takes a one-person convoy for about 25 yards. And a great job by his teammate, Gross, and blocking for Aline downfield.
McDaniels now at the 27. Will hand it off right. Here is Dallas. Bryant Dallas, spin move. Stays inbounds wisely. It gets to the 2. First down and goal to go.
And Delaware State now, as you mentioned, they needed to show life, and they've responded. Great outside cut by Dallas, number 30, and then he ping-pongs and pinballs his way inside the 5-yard line.
Blocking on the right side of the offensive line for the Hornets has been stout. Offset eye, right side, out of the shotgun, Jack McDaniels. will play action it, keep it, and easily get into the end zone. Touchdown, Hornets.
Great decision by the quarterback. And it may have been on a miscommunication between he and the running back, but wisely keeping his head up, the sophomore decides to scoot to his left. All the pursuit was going right with Dallas, who had the huge pickup on the previous play, and the quarterback scoots to his left, untouched into the end zone.
Huge extra point coming up here from Jose Romo Martinez. 20 of 29, and PATs, he's perfect 8 of 8, and he will continue that trend, boots that one through. Gets the Hornets within 6. Huge drive there for the Hornets. They're back in it. You're watching MEAC Football right here on ESPN.
Getting out of your comfort zone. It's possible in the all-new Santa Fe with Lane Keep Assist, part of the Hyundai SUV family.
Buddy Pugh's South Carolina State Bulldogs now only up 13-7 after giving up 2 big runs. Second to Dallas and first to Aline before Jack McDaniels, the 6'3", 215-pound sophomore quarterback, lumbered in for a 2-yard touchdown, and the extra point good. Now the Hornets are within 6.
Yes, and we had the opportunity for you to finish one of my highlights, so I'm going to say it's McDaniels, not McDonald's. The rhymes are Darryl, the burgers are Ronald's. Run DMC, we're the Run DMC of sports broadcasting, finishing show. And Jack McDaniels with the 4-yard TD run for Delaware State.
Daniels. Now here is line drive kickoff, goes out of bounds.
And I don't think they're going to throw the flag because I think it was touched by the freshman Manigault.
Pugh in his final season as the head coach here for South Carolina State, 9-5 against DSU. Graduate of South Carolina State in '75. Has a 95-36 record in conference play, looking for win number 96 in the MEAC, but right now he's going to have to work his team together to get back on track, down or up 13-7 though.
He was talking to the freshman, telling him to let it go. Don't touch it, because the ball would have gone out of bounds and been placed at the 35 instead of at the 16.
Nick out of the shotgun now. Tyrese Nick, sophomore quarterback, will hand it off. He's been working well here a little bit in the third quarter, getting that running game going. And it will be James with the carry. He already has one huge carry in this game.
Dayton James started to his right, then cut back to his left, and over 40 yards right there. Maybe one.
Hornets now will call on their defense to make a big play here. Trying to carry momentum back to their side. Or first on their side. They haven't had a majority of the game. Option pitch right. Here is Dayton James again. And he runs over tacklers past the 30-yard line.
He sure did, and he lumbered and lowered the wood on number 15, Tham. Muhammad Tham really takes the brunt. And it's a good form tackle attempt by Tham, but my goodness, when you get running downhill like that on a man that's 220-plus pounds, that's what happens.
Now, Tham is down on the field. And Payne,
the freshman,
holding that shoulder, it looks like, or at least his midsection.
And let me change that. It's Tia. Muhammad Tia.
Your neck of the woods, Union City, New Jersey?
Yes. North Jersey. That's North Jersey. My mom and family hailing from Central Jersey, the shore.
Team looks like he's going to be okay, at least.
Yes, but not initially.
No.
He is, and that's the thing.
Anybody would have been after that hit.
Square your shoulders, and the player that is moving with the force actually throws all the force into the player that's moving slower or at rest. That is a physics problem, D, that you can't overcome.
I've seen James do that, deliver the punishment as opposed to taking it. He stays in the ball game, and he'll get the carry left side now, breaks it back in, and will gain around 3 to 4 yards. So James looking quite nice here. Now, again, last week against Bethune-Cookman for South Carolina State, it was the Jarius Jenkins show. We barely even saw James, but James now making a name for himself here against Delaware State.
As long as you get production, I guess that's okay, but you're right. They alternate weeks.
Here's Nick now trying to decide, but well covered here by Delaware State, whether he should pitch it or not. He has to keep it, and somehow he is able to keep that play alive, although really doesn't gain much after a lot of scurrying around.
And that was just pure athleticism just to get back to the line of scrimmage and continue this drive. It's on 3rd down, but at least it could have been 10 or 12 yards lost. Not so because of the athleticism of Nick.
It's 3rd and long. Their own 32 here for the Bulldogs, and trying to keep at least the chains moving here as Delaware State had just gotten a score and looking to get the ball back. Going to the air and incomplete, wide open at the 43-yard line was Will Vereen, and he just dropped it.
Great pass by Nick, great choice. That would have been enough for a 1st down. And again, I have to keep repeating myself, but it's true. The most important part of the catch is at the end. You have to haul the ball in and possess it.
Sounds logical and obvious, right?
It does. But you see how many times we've seen the freshman drop the ball, and then now Vereen. 2 great passes by Nick fall harmlessly to the turf.
From Petaway to punt. Inside his own 20. Nice kick.
Unbelievable
22-yard line by Aline, and he falls down trying to get that ball.
Well, the height with the pressure and the distance, unbelievable. And right now a game changer and really helping out the South Carolina State huge is the punter.
Now Aline coupled with the run by Dallas. Well, you can see the footwork.
And I'm okay with that.
Fumbling around, trying to make sure he gets that ball.
Because if he doesn't catch the ball probably would have bounced even closer to Delaware State's end zone.
4 down lineman now, and it'll be Bryant Dallas with the carry. And Delaware State now also really doing a good job of moving the ball forward. That might sound as if you've not been seeing this game to this point, but they had a hard time getting anywhere past the line of scrimmage. But now they're moving this ball,
right,
running the ball. Jack McDaniels throws on the run, and it's intercepted. And then falling down at the 41-yard line there for the Bulldogs, the first turnover of the game, Colin Washington with the pick.
And a great job by Washington because he concentrates on the ball, unlike, unfortunately, Selby, the wide receiver for Delaware State, who just flips the ball up as he's trying to make a catch into the defender's arms. And you got to like that. Another takeaway for South Carolina State.
So now that will bring up 1st and 10 for the Bulldogs, and a much needed turnover as Delaware State have really gotten some good momentum with a defensive stop after their touchdown. Right back to the ground. Datron James go the Bulldogs.
Yeah, 2 yards, not much, but listen, to get the stop and to take the ball away. Again, mentioned as we opened up, winning the turnover battle or turnover margin, and that's going to be helpful for South Carolina State.
Shift to the right. James stays in as your tailback, and he will get the carry up the middle. Nice seam to go through, and he stays on his feet after taking on a couple of tacklers, not letting them bring him down, and he gets into Delaware State territory.
James, sizable, 5'10", 200 plus.
All of these runners, for the most part, for the Bulldogs, when we've seen them carry, both especially Jenkins and James, are not easy to bring down. They are strong, heady runners.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and it's a huge benefit, especially between the tackles.
I mean, even Tyrese Nick at 6 foot 170 isn't easy to bring down. James gets the carry again, the call to the 45 on a first down carry, make it second down.
Right there, the Delaware State defensive line holds good penetration, and they plug up the holes and the gaps, and nowhere for James to go.
Seeing a little bit more hands on hips from this defense here for the Hornets.
Been on the field a lot.
Now Nick's going to try to keep him worn down, but this time he's looking deep, and he'll throw it deep towards the right side, and it's bobbled and dropped. Triple coverage, nearly picked off. Quan Caldwell, the intended receiver, and that had the collective breath held by almost this entire home standing fans in Orangeburg, South Carolina. That wasn't picked off.
Well, Caldwell being the senior, Nick having a lot of confidence in him that he would win a 50-50 ball right there against 3 white jerseys. That's not a 50-50 ball. That's more in the favor of the Delaware State secondary. But Caldwell does a good job in becoming a defender and knocking that ball to the turf.
Wayne Granger in on the coverage, knocking that down, nearly picking it off. Nick, design possibly, delayed draw by the quarterback, will get the first down run and move the chains on a 3rd and 9 run by the QB.
And that's a good time to have your QB run. Secondary looking for pass and covering the receivers after a long throw and an incomplete on 2nd down, and Nick just tucks the ball and scoots out the left side door and picks up the first.
Green at the bottom of the screen was in motion. Here's Jarius Jenkins with the burst up the middle of the 25.
Good run on 1st down.
Some fresh legs.
Absolutely. 4 or more yards. You know, I love that. And you saw Jenkins avoid a big hit at the end. Looked like he slid in the 2nd.
8 yards on that last carry. We've got more here from Jenkins as he gets inside the 15-yard line for another big gain and a 1st down.
Some great explosive plays here by the rushing attack of South Carolina State. And as you mentioned, 32 replacing 18, and a great run by Jenkins.
Jenkins to the left now. James and Jenkins doing yeoman's work. Nick with the fake, and he goes into the end zone and promptly flips the football after getting in for 6.
A great decision to keep the ball. Tyrese Nick, number 3, he can rush the ball as well, and 13 yards into the end zone.
$13-yard TD run there by Tyrese Nick. That is his 5th rushing score of the year.
Great effort as well. He had to break away from one defender.
Extra point. This is not a gimme as it goes through. SC State had one blocked. This one, though, rings true through the uprights. 20-7 now, the lead extended back up for the Bulldogs on a Tyrese Nick run up the middle. Bulldogs now leading here with 4:31 left in the 3rd quarter. It's Delaware State will get the ball back and turning that turnover into points. You see the offensive coordinator there, Bennett Swire, coming over and congratulating his sophomore quarterback and how heady he has been in this game, being able to feel the pressure and running at the right times, and that time designed completely, and nice misdirection going to the right and easy going there for Nick into the end zone.
Once you get the running backs leading the charge, you're not thinking about that quarterback in the decision to keep, and you saw that in Delaware State as they get their lone touchdown by Jack McDaniels faking a handoff, or at least thinking about a handoff to the running back, and then he himself going left, getting into the end zone.
You have enough weapons, you diversify them. It's hard to key on any particular individual, and right now SC State has 3 runners to key on. Short kickoff is fielded and brought up to the 30-yard line, and even past there, maybe to the 31. And Delaware State will try to get things going here. Teron Selby was bringing that one back, but as if the Hornets had kind of gotten momentum back in their favor. They had scored a touchdown, got a defensive stop, got the ball back. They then gave it right back, and a quick 6 can turn things around quite quickly.
Well, it's great that you can see South Carolina State actually use that turnover to get them more points on the board, and went from a 6-point game now to a 13-point game with that takeaway and score.
Play action. McDaniels going deep right sideline. We'll have that one be incomplete.
Kelly, the defender there, number 7, and just was all in the front and hip pockets.
Trey Gross, the intended receiver.
Of Trey Gross.
So McDaniels now working on a 2nd and 10, trying to get his team back in this. Will sweep it left to Aline. Brought down from behind at around the 37-yard line.
Darrell Brown coming down the line, and his chin strap got unsnapped on the tackle, but keeps the helmet on so he doesn't have to leave the field to play. When the helmet comes off, you have to come off for one play unless a timeout's taken. And right there, a good job all the way around by the defensive lineman.
Under 4 to go now, and the Hornets pressing a bit. Daniels flips that ball now, will pass middle of the field. Nice ball and nice catch for a big first down. Taking a big hit there also towards the end of the play, and that will end up, though, still being a big play in this game offensively, keeping the Hornets in it.
And Nassim Woodard, number 83, he makes a great adjustment to catch the ball, but then takes a shot, and he's still on the turf.
Right in the side. That never feels good. Colin Washington in on the hit.
Yeah. An illegal hit, good hit, but a hit where Washington gets a chance to run and get the momentum into a receiver. And he looked like he's bigger as the defender than the pass catcher.
It's an exposed area, though, in the ribs. Not a lot of padding there.
Well, you choose, and I didn't wear rib pads, and I understand, but you can wear them, and right there, either way, it's still going to hurt.
My understanding of people I've worked with, wide receivers don't wear a lot.
No, they don't.
They want to fly.
And they can. Then they also have the flip side of the coin.
There you go.
A big shot to the ribs and some assistance, but everything's good.
It looked as though there might be a penalty, though, on this play in wiping out the pass.
It should be unfortunate because a great executed play downfield by Del State.
Didn't see any part of that.
May have been a holding up the middle there. Good rush.
And boy, that's been kind of what's been happening in this game for the Hornets now. I think this is about the 3rd time I remember where a penalty really wiped out a big play for them. Daniels will try to go back to the well, though, and has all the time, but then finally flushed out, and he will tuck it in and run to get to the 35.
And McDaniels getting what he could, almost caught in the backfield, and then just escapes. Still takes a couple of licks downfield, though, after picking up some yardage. Decent yardage, but not enough for
Gilchrist in on the stop. 4th and 9. Will now cause there to be a punt attempt here by Delaware State. DeBose to receive, but he won't have a chance at it as it goes out of bounds.
Yeah, and I think a little
shoving here. Watch out towards the end.
Yeah, and that's crazy.
Got to get out of the bench area, too.
Well, it's silly.
This is always where some of the bigger fights happen. Now we do have a flag there at the end as well. And we've had this throughout the game. We've already had Demo Burrows with 2 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, which got him ejected towards the end of the first half. A big playmaker, wide receiver for SC State. And we've seen a few more of these throughout the course of this contest between two teams that are probably a little grumpy going into this one, coming off of losses and having a tough time this year with a combined 1-11 record between the two.
You're absolutely right, and I think this is going to hurt South Carolina State. And the punt was shanked.
Yep. Zafir Kelly, number 7 there, getting charged with that unsportsmanlike conduct.
You got to be smarter than that, because that would have been great field position at the 40. Now you're back to the 25. It can be, you know, that 15 yards can be made up, but you'd like to start closer to midfield.
So SC State will start at their own 25. Tyrese Nick has looked spectacular after coming off of a bit of an injury with his offhand, his non-throwing wrist. As you can see, it is pretty taped up, and he will keep it on the run. An integral part of this offense, and now showing his abilities not only on the ground but through the air.
Yes, and 5 on
not
first
just
down.
But I mean, obviously he's had that throughout the course of this game.
Correct. And that his receivers helped him out. He may have had an even more prolific day, but so far.
Drops. That's right.
Yeah.
Here is a run, nice find there on a counter to the right. And see that seam going through is Omar Cummings.
Like Cummings. He's a nice change of pace to both the bigger backs, Jenkins and James.
He's been featured more as a wideout through the course of this season, but now he's seeing a little bit of an opportunity on the ground to carry the ball a bit here in this game against Delaware State, and cramping now becoming a situation here. We started out the game at 77 degrees and rain, a lot of it. And now the rain has subsided to a large degree, but still it is humid and not quite as cold as we've seen throughout the course of a lot of the rest of the country. We're at 71 degrees now. But that's definitely something we'll highlight throughout the course of this contest moving forward.
Got to hydrate D. Hansen, even though we had liquid sunshine, rain coming down and chasing all of the fans underneath. The players are still going to heat up, and they're going to expend a lot of energy, and you got to hydrate and get yourself in a condition to where you can still be athletic at 100%.
Malik Mickle, the redshirt junior, 6'4", 285, out of Winsboro, South Carolina, being helped off the field there. And obviously we're not doctors, but it seems that he was dealing with some cramping issues there.
Well, the trainers were working that toe, and you know that helps those cramps subside, especially in the calf and possible hamstring areas.
Here's Nick now with 2:18 left in the third quarter. His team leading 20-7 here against Delaware State. Hands it off to Cummings, and he'll get near the 40-yard line. Back to nearly where South Carolina State would have had the ball had it not been for that unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yes, and so 15 more yards would have put them in Delaware State territory right now, as opposed to where the initial line of scrimmage could have been.
Nick with the option keeper sprints up the middle, and he would have had a lot more had there not been some, I don't know, some hand come out of the ground or a weed. Now that Delaware State's contending that there's a fumble and that they recovered it, but they're not going to get that call from the officials. And Nick and the rest of this offense will retain possession.
Yeah, Nick was down here. Nice cutback, decides to keep, and the knees hit. And you could clearly see the left knee.
Everything.
Yeah.
Gotta try.
Absolutely.
First down after the run by the quarterback, and it will be Nick barking out
an audible of sorts.
Some calls here, and then seeing what the defense presents. Handoff Cummings, I believe, again, and he doesn't get anywhere. Second down 10.
I think, just looking at the defensive front, that Nick may have changed the direction of the running play, or as an offense you can have set run pass audibles that you audible into, given the defensive front as well.
Nick again now, and he delays this as he will now keep it. Nice cut back, and then he's upended it around the 32-yard line.
What a weapon to have.
He has such good vision. Another flag, though, on the field. I think this is towards the back end of the play.
It's unfortunate. Maybe a holding downfield. I don't know, but there's been a lot of flags, D. Homecoming should not be riddled with flags.
No, it should not.
And I'm talking for both teams.
It's definitely taken the air out of the game to a certain degree. Eddie Pugh's not going to be happy with that call.
No. So you get the first down, move the ball back. They're taking the long or circuitous route to the end zone.
You got I formation and a stack set, bottom of your screen with two wideouts. You're going to throw it outright, and it is caught at the 43, breaking back right-hand side, and getting a nice gain out of that 1st and 10 play.
Freshman.
Scott Robinson.
A good job there. You can see how quick Robinson is once he catches the ball, throws the ball down near side to his own sideline and scoots upfield, and I believe he may have enough for a first. No, 9 yards.
Just needs one more now. And a long belabored series on offense for the Bulldogs, sucking the time off the clock here in the 3rd quarter. Burrows with the carry, Cummings, excuse me, inside the 30 to the 28.
First down picked up here.
Yep. 2nd and 1, I think people caught that. It was a good carry.
Yeah, you're right.
And that will also do it here for the 3rd quarter of play. As we go on to the 4th quarter, South Carolina State putting their stamp on this one, leading 20-7 on a 13-yard touchdown by Nick at the end of their last offensive series. That was Manigault, though, in his 2nd rushing score of the game. And then, though, still trying to stay in it here for the Hornets. McDaniels will trot in for the only points in the game so far for Delaware State. You're watching MEAC Football here on ESPN.
Okay, chicken it is.
Chick-fil-A nuggets make dinner delightful.
Now that's smart.
South Carolina State with the lead, 20-7 here, and all ball in the 4th quarter against Delaware State and the Hornets. D. Hanson joined by Steve Foster, just starting out the 4th quarter of play. And in the red there, you see the Bulldogs getting ready for business here as they have really routed into form. Not only defensively, we've seen that actually play well all game long, but this offense now getting things going on the grounds from 3 different players, and Jenkins, James, and Nick. Play action, though, and Nick will decide to run it. And usually that's been the best choice for him all game long. And still a reasonably good gain there going to the right side. But you can see he's like, I tried to do something there and I needed to run it, but I wanted to go through the air.
One more defender eluded, and Nick may have been in the end zone, but at least he picks up 3 yards. It doesn't go as a negative play for South Carolina State.
5 yards needed for a first. Cummings will get the carry as he has seen some good action here. The sophomore out of Beaufort, South Carolina. 3rd and 1. Looks like he got knocked right in the mouth there. Jacob Jones on one knee, and he's having a hard time.
Yeah, and you know, those interior guys are banging around and not sure what happened, but I think it was just a momentary, I don't know, lapse and collision that brings 58 off the field.
Let's see here towards the end of the play. Gets hit right in the mouth by his own players. His helmet flies off.
And also the block by South Carolina State. Terry giving those offensive linemen a little credit.
4 yards needed here. Nick will hand it off. That was the right move because he would have been definitely leveled for a loss on the play.
Right.
Great defense there for Delaware State staying at home.
Yeah, and they bring a little pressure, a little run blitz, an extra guy down in the box.
4th and 3 coming up. We'll see SC State decides to go for a field goal. They will not. At the 22 of the Hornets, leading 20-7.
Would have been a 37-yarder, D. The 4th and 3.
At the top of your screen, 2 receivers left, and there's a timeout taken on the field. Stops the clock. 13:46 left in the game. SC State with the advantage and the ball. We'll see how they handle this 4th and 4. The teeth of that Hornets defense. You're watching MEAC Football right here on.
Luke got to be a real-life superhero, and so did his dad.
Just starting out the 4th quarter here at Bulldog Stadium. South Carolina State has the football off of a timeout. It's 4th and 4. They were going to go for it on offense, and now they will throw out their attempt on a field goal from Dylan Bredesen.
39 yards.
39 yards out, and it is good. Bredesen 1 of 3 on the season from 27 yards out. That's easily his long for the year.
And on homecoming.
And SC State still gets points on the board after that boot.
That would have been good from 40, but not much farther than 40 yards. But it's good.
So the junior kicks it through to give the lead now that much more here to SC State at 23-7.
And the freshman from Florida was true. That was pretty much right down the middle, D. Hansen. Think you can kick field goals if we set you up?
No.
No?
I've tried that. It's not easy.
It is not easy.
Did one of those
pass kicks
ones where you can
Dr. Pepper $1 million kick or something.
Well, it wasn't that
I know, but
extravagant.
Trying to give you some hype.
Yeah, but no, it was impossible. Here's Bredesen again now back in play after the field goal. He'll kick it off to around the 11-yard line. Will be fielded and brought up. Not much room there on the return, and the special teams unit comes in big again here for the Bulldogs. And it'll be 1st and 10 coming up here for the Hornets, and they are down big now to 23-7. You got to take this bit by bit offensively if you're Delaware State. Kawana Kali with the return.
And 2 scores with two-point conversions ties you in this ball game, but that's at least still 2 scores.
Yeah, it's
the traditional way is probably 3.
It will be a play action. McDaniels through the middle is able to connect.
Good play. I like that. Nice quick timing pass in the middle and executed by Trey Gross. We had mentioned his name before, and right there, a good pass by Jack McDaniels, the sophomore quarterback.
Aline able to freeze the defense a little bit too there on the show to him. Roll out left for the righty. McDaniels will throw it away.
Wisely, because nobody downfield, at least on the left side of the field, as McDaniel was rolling left towards his sideline. Blanket coverage in the secondary by the Bulldogs.
Gilchrist giving chase.
Big Gilchrist.
2nd down.
Actually, Ford, 35. Ford giving chase.
Well, Gilchrist was in there too. I saw him running back.
It would have been a collision. It would have been bad for Jack McDaniels.
Exactly right. Aline will get the call this time though, and inches his way, tries to midfield.
Ford.
That'll be 3rd down.
And Ford is a stout defender. However, he can run sideline to sideline extremely well, and right there, a good tackle at the point of contact and no gain. It's
kind of shocked that we have not seen much of anything from freshman Michael Chris Ike, considering the game he had last week against Howard. Here's a throw left, and it's dropped. Very close, probably been a little bit shy, but Kawana Kali, had he been able to hold on to it, might have been able to get out of the grasp of the defender there, made even more out of the play, but it's 4th down.
And Kelly, not Kali, but Kelly, number 7 on the defense for South Carolina State. And I think he just disrupted the concentration just enough. The ball falls harmlessly to the turf.
See Gilchrist getting in there too. He seems to be one of the more spirited and outspoken leaders for this defense.
He is.
Romo Martinez with the punt. Angles it right. Dubose will collect it at his own 6. Goes to the middle of the field and breaks it back to the left side and gets to the 15-yard line. So good punt for the Hornets, but they're down 23-7 on the road, having a tough time here against the Bulldogs in MEAC play. You're watching MEAC Football on ESPN. As anticipated, this has been, for the most part, a defensive back and forth, especially in the first half. Third quarter, though, SC State opened things up, and now they lead 23-7 here at home. Starting out their own 15-yard line, the Hornets just have not been able to get anything going since a 2-yard touchdown run by McDaniels. They turned it right over, though, after getting a good stop after that last series. And then since then, it's been all South Carolina State settling in with their offense and running the football effectively. 2nd and 6. Nick will keep it. Tyrese Nick, the sophomore quarterback, he got banged up a little bit, had to leave the game for maybe about 4 or 5 plays. Got his offhand, his non-throwing hand wrapped up, that wrist injured, but since then he has maybe even looked better running the football and making very good decisions.
Wouldn't disagree with you. Up 23-7 are the Bulldogs.
3rd and 5 now, though, for SC State. Nick will look to the air to get that first down. Low throw is going to be counted as
knee
hitting down. So he did catch it, and then unable to move the football based on kneeling down and catching that one was Rodriguez Thomas. Right there, on left knee down. Tough rule. Had a hard time with that sometimes in college.
Safety, and they always
I
go for safety.
I'm not saying it's valid. I just like the ability for some of these skill players, especially, be able to make a play. And now a handoff after the first down is picked up. That by Jenkins on the run. 2nd down.
And right now the clock is definitely the Delaware State, South Carolina State Bulldogs' friend, as they are up multiple scores, and right now possess the ball as long as possible and run that clock down.
Very deliberate here. The Bulldogs have been up tempo late stages 2nd quarter and into the 3rd quarter, but deliberate now in taking a lot of time off the clock. Play action, Nick in trouble, flushed out, stays on his feet, then brought down from behind.
They almost scooted out.
30-yard line. Well, and not giving up. I mean, you had Jason Smith, who had given chase previously there at the beginning of that play, flushed Nick out of the pocket initially and then stayed after him.
Yeah, absolutely, and made the tackle from behind. A yard pickup by Nick.
Jenkins to the right of Nick here in the shotgun.
Good job of running the clock down as this Bulldog offense.
The 3rd down opportunity for the Hornets, though, to make a stop. Deep pass left side. It is going to be caught. But is it in bounds? No. And that was Thomas again, the intended receiver. Now we're going to have a conference about whether he was in bounds or not.
Oh, and they mark it.
They're
it
going
is
to say yes. Complete. Let's see.
It's tough on this sideline, but a good adjustment by the body. Now, it's interesting because it looked like the toe was out of the right foot, but the left foot was dragged.
See that right foot, if it comes down first on the line, it doesn't matter whether he drags it or not.
Well,
did the toe drag first?
I don't think the toe drug first.
What? Bulldogs right now just saying, let's get this snap off. On a 1st down pass, Jenkins will get the carry and he won't go anywhere. Things calming down a little bit too here between these two teams. It had gotten really bad as far as seemingly at least.
You called them
a lot of flags
chippy.
and
Oh, they chippy.
A little chippy. Chirping and chippy.
Good break for the Bulldogs here at home, though.
That's right. End around pitch, left-hand side, and then bounced out of bounds is Robinson.
And there's my guy, Jihad Niebauer. Get a chance to say his name again. Number 2 for Delaware State, coming up quickly from the secondary.
Look at him fly through there. More than a few Hornets bit on the play to the right.
But as long as one stays home and makes the tackle, all is well on the defensive side.
3rd down and 10 to go. Hornets again, another 3rd down to see if they can stop this series, and more time coming off the clock. Nick winding up, goes deep, tipped and incomplete. In triple coverage, trying to pass it in the middle of the field to Will Vereen, and it's
good choice.
Not going to be caught
by Nick. And Nick and Vereen will get more seasons to look to connect, but that was a great thought as Vereen was breaking open deep in the secondary. But listen, good coverage and great recovery by Chris Wilson to break that pass up inside the 10.
Aline deep to receive, low snap is collected by Petaway. End over end, hits at the 13, it stays in bounds and gets to the 5. Petaway has been spectacular in this game, hunting for the Bulldogs, and they lead 23-7 here at home. The Hornets taking the field on offense with 7:24 left. You're watching MEAC Football on ESPN.
Specifically from the Chihuahua people. The level of details it gives you, it's incredible.
Connecting 20 million members to a deeper family story. Order your kit at Ancestry.com.
You know, Steve, going into this game, I had reviewed your keys to the game and noticed home cooking was one of them here for South Carolina State. Get a win at home, something that has eluded these Bulldogs all season long. They're 0-2 so far, but now well on their way possibly of getting one here this afternoon against Delaware State and the Hornets. But Aline tried to make a difference there. He nearly popped that one for a little bit more than just what he got after getting tripped up, though. And the Hornets have had some consistency issues on offense here today. A lot of that has to do with the Bulldog defense doing a good job.
Defense has been solid all year.
Daniels now back, and then he will delay and then pass. Was that a pass?
Yes.
He ran with it, and then
he was behind the line of scrimmage.
I don't even know what
he saw somebody breaking open towards the middle.
I guess
it got tipped in good hands by the South Carolina State defense to break up that pass. I know it was risky.
Ray Gross was
risky
right there, I guess. Trips left now, top of the screen. Aline gets the carry and the first down. He gets popped very high near his head. We'll get a first down. Excuse me, that's Dallas.
And I just think there was sliding in by Durant. That's why you got to do your neck exercises.
Tempo, Dallas gets the flare out. Has some room, good spacing. Brought down for about a 9-yard gain.
A little bit of a hog tie as the Bulldogs, 3 or 4 other guys come in and tackle Dallas towards his bench. Look like Gilchrist.
Now Aline is back in, but it doesn't matter because McDaniels is going to keep it instead and having a hard time going forward apparently, and then he'll get to the 35.
Yeah, he got corralled by a whole host of Bulldogs, in particular Paul McIver, number 76.
Under 6 to go, and the way this offense is going for the Hornets, 23-7 seems insurmountable right now. Daniels now will look deep and be flushed out again. Have to tuck it in and run, then slides.
A little more conventional way to get down as opposed to get spun around and tackled by 3 defenders. Jack McDaniels doing everything he can to try to move this ball down the field.
They are moving forward here, and it's 2nd and short. Bringing 5 are the Bulldogs. Slant pass is caught for a first down and more. Look at this effort inside the 40 to the 35-yard line on the catch by Gross.
Trey Gross gets his jersey turned around, but a nice little skinny post, about 15-yard pitch and catch, and Gross gets extra yards after the
Durant
catch.
trying to strip that ball out. Gross just kept on going. Keeper by McDaniels smartly will go right now, as you had the other option to lean. Is more than likely going to get tackled for a very short gain, and McDaniels makes a big gain out of it with the run.
Yes, the sophomore using the vision and the decision making not to hand the ball out to Aline, who would have been met by 2 defenders, and Jack McDaniels picks up great yardage. 9, almost a first down there on the keeper.
Timeout taken on the field by, I believe, SC State, but we'll see. Yep. 1 remaining, 4:29 left. Delaware State trying to get another score on the board.
And their first victory of the season.
That one I wasn't going to go as far on, just considering the circumstances. But I love the optimism.
I'm just, you know, that's
what they're going for. They didn't come here to lose.
Oh.
I get that.
Right. It is homecoming, and they got scheduled for a reason.
State right now is up 23-7, so it makes it difficult.
Right.
And so now we have SC State's defense, which has looked really good pretty much all season long when we've seen them, is rounded into form here today, Steve. Really making it difficult for the majority of the time for this team in Delaware State to run the football any level of consistency. This is easily one of the better drives we've seen them have.
Yes, but as soon as you say that, Bruce Johnson, number 98 for Delaware, check that, South Carolina State, thwarts all of the positivity that you had discussed for Delaware State.
It's been big in this game. As Johnson now past the middle of the field, caught 25 at the 10. Not easily brought down, but finally inside the 5. The Bulldogs have been settled on the run majority of this series, but Selby makes his way for a first down and goal to go for his Hornets.
Good thing for Selby, because Selby was the one that bobbled and juggled an almost reception that was intercepted.
And now it will be a jaunt into the end zone from about 2 yards out. Touchdown, Hornets.
And McDaniels flinging the ball quickly to the far side away from his bench. And that is Woodard, number 83, after the catch, running in. Number 83, Woodard.
So that would go down as a pass.
Yes.
From McDaniels to Woodard.
A 2-point try.
Here's McDaniels now looking right. Going middle, ball tipped around and intercepted, I believe. No, just incomplete. So the 2-point attempt fails. And Delaware State will stay down by 10, 23-13 with 3:45 left.
Here comes the onside kick, D. Hansen.
So Hornets not going away here, Steve. Got back in it here, down by 10. Not a lot of time, obviously, on their hands. And onside kick pretty much coming up.
Yes, your hands team, as they call it, mostly running backs, receivers, defensive backs, those types of guys. Solid possessors of the ball, because that funny ball shape makes a difference on this turf. And Del State looking to keep this momentum going to see if they can cut into this 10-point lead.
Tyrese Nick has been a large part of the offense, as have Datron James and Jenkins. This three-headed monster for offense, really doing a good job also for the Bulldogs. They'll rely on them to close this game out.
Absolutely. 2 or 3 more first downs, use up those Del State timeouts, and just keep possession of the ball.
So we'll see how the Hornets try to get this onside kick recovery. We've seen multiple versions of this now throughout college and the professional ranks, whether it be a high pop-up, and see if you can cause issues there. Obviously, the normal way we've seen it, hit the ground first, so it pops up high. And that's the way that's going to happen here. The hands team in there, and it got right to exactly who the Bulldogs would like it to get to. And Calvin Giles McClary, who had come in as the backup quarterback there for about 3 or 4 plays.
And the senior.
And the senior, maybe more importantly, gets what could be sealing the deal here for a W for SC State. Not only their second win of the season, it would be their second win in conference play, and also their first win here at home.
Huge on homecoming 2018. And a short field now for the Bulldogs as well. And you just really want to force Delaware State into using the timeouts, keep the clock moving, picking up first downs. And hey, another score is a bonus.
3:41 left in the game now, and SC State, even though Delaware State has 2 timeouts left, can, the way they've looked in the last few series, really drain the majority of this clock out, possibly on this series.
Right.
And Nick will hand it off right side. And they're already at midfield after that attempt on the onside kick.
Started at the Del State 46, and that's James, number 18, with the carry. Picks up about 2.
And that clock will, they're not going to do anything with it. They're just going to keep it going.
Well, and Delaware State may recognize that too. Because if they burn all the timeouts now and another first down is picked up, you can run out the rest of the clock.
Here's an option pitch. Ball is loose, though, and picked up by the Hornets.
That was the last thing.
That is huge. Brian Favicante with the recovery. Wow.
Well, we want you to stay to the end, and this is the way to do it. Now Delaware State back with the football at their own 48-yard line, 47-yard line, excuse me.
First turnover of the game for the Bulldogs. Throw left, it is caught by Aline, and he gets out of bounds smartly. 2:58 left in the contest, and Delaware State down here on the road.
Down 10, so they've got to score twice. 8 doesn't do it for them.
Play action. McDaniel's in trouble, flings it left, and it'll be incomplete.
Wisely gets rid of it. Doesn't take.
And the clock runs.
You remember at home cooking? and technically the clock should be kept on the field by the officiating crew. But as you mentioned, precious seconds.
That's not, I don't know why that's happening. Here's McDaniels again. He throws it right-hand side to Lean. It'll be incomplete.
And the clock's still running.
It just runs. Apparently, that's, I don't know if the coaches agreed on this.
I have no idea.
This is supposed to be happening. Oh, I mean, this is serious.
It's absolutely serious because it's mirroring what's on the scoreboard, and now two minutes have been put back on.
McDaniels now will throw it left-hand side, and it will be caught.
And hopefully somebody on the field is keeping the actual time. That's what's...
Juana Kali with the reception near the 35. And it'll be a throw out to the right-hand side, and that will be stopped for barely any kind of gain. Alex Seifert with the reception.
Durant, number 14, coming up. That was the play that scored the touchdown on the last series for Del State.
And that score should be 23-13. Throw left is intercepted. Right side Bulldogs. Zafir Kelly will go in for the score. Touchdown Bulldogs.
That's the way you cap it off. You just take the ball back and you put points on the board. A pick six by number 7, Kelly in the secondary.
And that should do it. Bulldogs nail in the coffin there from Zafir Kelly. Extra point coming up
and
make this a 30-13 lead. Bredesen kicks it through, and it is 30-13 now. And the Bulldogs well on their way to their first win at home this year, and to bolster their mark to 2-5 and 2-2 in conference play.
Looked like about 60 and some change. Get the distance of the interception return for touchdown, aka pick six. And I know homecoming in Orangeburg, South Carolina, with a lot better feel.
So have a little bit of also some issues there with the screen, but we do have a score that hits at 30 points on the board for South Carolina State, something that they have not enjoyed too much this season, with the offense not quite up to speed as compared to the defense, but still doing a good job.
Yes, and we knew Del State gave up about 50 and some change points a game, and now South Carolina State heading closer to 50 than 25, and that coming on a pick six here at the end of the game.
And a line drive, line over end kick here. Hits the ground multiple times, obviously, and now you have Delaware State trying to return this one, and they will. Left side and from the all the way around the, there's a flag on the play as well around the 33-yard line.
That's Dallas. We've seen him in the backfield, and now he's returning the kick. Bryant Dallas. As you mentioned, though, flag on the field.
Yep, up against the Hornets once again. Delaware State will have one of the only, actually their only second home game of the season coming up after this one, taking on North Carolina Central and the Eagles there in Dover at Alumni Stadium next week at 2 o'clock. South Carolina State will be on the road against Howard, the team that the Delaware State Hornets just got done playing and losing to there in Washington, D.C. at William H. Green Stadium at 1 o'clock next week for the kickoff.
The quarterback for Howard, Cam Newton's younger brother.
Here's McDaniels looking left, and he'll throw left, and it'll be caught to the midfield area. And Kwana Kali continuing to make an impact, receiving the football. It gets the first down.
Yes, and that was a big gain there, even though the clock is winding down under 2 minutes. Now the Hornets in Bulldogs territory at the 48.
Daniels then pumping, and it will go deep right side, and it will be incomplete. In fact, that looked like it was intended for a Bulldog instead in Durant. Well covered.
It was well covered.
Gross, the intended receiver.
But you can't give up if you're the Hornets, and down a couple scores again. Actually, 3 scores.
Here's McDaniels, and the screen set up for Aline is overthrown. Good pressure.
Real good pressure there, and that ball stays up any longer, that could have been intercepted as well.
Obviously, pressure is part of the fact that you might be facing when you do set up the screen, but that time really clouded the vision, I think, of McDaniels enough to make it a tough throw.
South Carolina State and their front 4 and 5 have been wreaking havoc and messing up the timing for Delaware State all day.
After the Kali reception, looking for a stop here in a 3rd and 10. are the Bulldogs, but they will not get a well-thrown ball is caught, and that will be enough for a first down to Selby.
Great job there. Jack McDaniel still competing. That play almost goes for 20 yards in itself.
Coming up on a minute to play in the game, McDaniels will flare it out right, and it will be blocked and hit to the ground. Aline had some space. Had that been complete, that might have been trouble, but Bulldogs defense has had the propensity this season of tipping balls at the line, and this afternoon they get the job done that way as well on the stop.
Blair for South Carolina State with the near interception.
Bulldogs not pressing here defensively, about 5-6 yards back. Here's McDaniels, throws it right, caught. Gross with the catch, the 20. Gets near the 15-yard line. 54 seconds and counting down. Delaware State has 2 timeouts remaining, but they're down 30-13. It looks like reset there, around a minute to go. McDaniels quickly to the line. Goes to the end zone, right corner, and it's high and tipped. Durant to there, trying to make a circus catch. Won't be able to do so. Again, Gross, the intended receiver.
Delaware State's gone from its own 15 to South Carolina State's 15, but still they haven't scored, and that's been a difficult.
You said that all, it's been a major part. You even had that as a key. Complete drives with scores here. Delaware State has had a hard time. Here's McDaniels again, and he will be flushed out, having to run upfield to the 10.
They got 5, so an opportunity to get a first down, but this clock and the South Carolina State defense opposing.
McDaniels again will throw, and it'll be blocked.
Yeah, nice pass break up there in the secondary. Looks like Anthony, number 8, the safety man.
15 seconds to go in the ball game. And just trying to get a moral victory out of this one on this drive are the Hornets. McDaniels looks left, throws left, it's caught, and going into the end zone for the score for the Hornets. In there for the touchdown is Selby. And that will have Delaware State nearing 20 points in this ball game.
Well, 10 yards flare out to the left side, and Selby, with all his initiative to get into the 10-yard area called the end zone, does it for Delaware State.
On Selby's first receiving touchdown of the year. And going for 2 once again are the Hornets. Looking right, middle of the field now, and is nearly picked off and then incomplete in the back end of the end zone. Kelly there also on the back end of that play. The big INT for a score. Sealing the deal for the Bulldogs, which will now ensure a victory here at 30-19, 4 seconds to go.
And yes, you can onside kick this if you like, but I don't think at this point even 8 points in 4 seconds will make a difference in the win. But
right,
there's that place out in the desert, and they do compete there as well with dollar bills. Right. Scott Van Pelt, SVP, has his bad beats, and sometimes he puts up the differentials of games. And I wouldn't want to make this a bad beat. Not on homecoming, D.
No, not on homecoming. SC State will now go to 2-5 on the season, 2-2 in conference play, and 1-2 here in Orangeburg. Feels good.
10 seconds. They put some time on the clock in here.
There's 10 seconds. Delaware State going for the onside kick. Has to go 10 yards. It does not. And everybody's just going to stare at it for a little bit. And now it's loose. We'll see who gets this ball.
As it bounced to the 10th yard.
They're going to say the Bulldogs recover, and that will do it in this game. Delaware State will fall to 0-7, 0-4 in the MEAC, 0-6 on the road. Will finally be able to play in Dover at Alumni Stadium next week against North Carolina Central. SC State will hit the road at Howard in the Bison in D.C. Tyrese Nick will come in and kneel on this one. He has looked all good here in this game and do the honors to close it out here in Orangeburg. And Delaware State will resign on that and not take a timeout. Will Rod Milstead, in his first year as the head coach, will take the loss. And Buddy Pugh with the win. He's now 122 wins overall and 96 in the MEAC. His defense got the job done in the second half. His offense got it going on the ground as well. So for my broadcast partner, Steve Foster, I'm Dee Hanson saying so long for Bulldog Stadium here in Orangeburg, South Carolina. Final score is 30-19. Bulldogs with the victory here against the Hornets. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.